Bet Auburn
I don't think that dude feels pain, right? Like, he separated his shoulder and didn't miss a game. He sprained his ankle, and I thought it had to be amputated, and he missed 2 games. Right?
Dr. Noster.
Yeah, like I don't think that he feels pain, and I think that he's big enough where it's like the point that you guys made. It's the leverage, it's the angles, it is the fact that he is 260 pounds and can kind of get wherever he wants to get to. It's not like you're relying on his explosiveness
on offense.
Right?
But see, that's not something we've doubted. Like, the offense is not what we're doubting. He's going to be great on offense. It's, are you going to give up 3s for 2s? Because Florida's going to get out and pressure the perimeter, and they're going to allow some of the stuff towards the rim. Like, is he going to be able to get out and contest 3s on that knee and ankle? And look, if he's feeling good, I'm sure like he's going to be able to do that. But they are going to run a lot of action at him. And whenever you're playing against a really good player, sometimes the best thing you can do is make him work on every possession on defense. And I would assume they're going to go at Janai Broome.
Mark Sears.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what Duke did to Mark Sears.
Auburn's got depth, though.
Yeah, they really do.
That's the thing.
Hey, look.
They can match Florida.
The Auburn Tigers are a great basketball team.
Woo!
They are a great basketball team. They made the Final Four. They are a great team. However, as is Florida. As is Florida. Florida's very good as well. But it's just one of these things where we're going to see in the first 5 minutes. If he's moving well, I think Auburn does win. It's just that's just a lot of miles, man.
So is it all on Janai?
I do think so. I actually think it is all on Janai.
Who else would it be on?
Well, I think like the Hod Pettiford and the shot making that he has, Chad Baker Mazzara, the shot making there. Like, I think those guys are a little bit up. Like, they can be inconsistent and up and down. Like, I don't think there's a shot of them, right? Like, there's nights when Hod Pettiford goes 2 for 10. Chad Baker Mazzara in the Elite Eight was like 2 for 10. I do think that that's part of it as well. But there's enough weapons that they have. That Auburn has.
I mean, it's the backcourt. I mean, we saw against Creighton they put up 55 points between Jones and between Baker Mazzara and Pettiford. And Pettiford, that dude is liable to have a 26-point game in this and go on a run himself and blow a game open. He can do that. That's why I think between these 2 games, I think we have more volatility in the Auburn-Florida game because I think either team can go on runs like we saw Florida do in that first matchup and just blow the game open. So I'll be curious to see how Auburn combats what Florida did in the first game defensively, because I made the point before, but Florida, when they played Thomas Houck and Alex Condon together, they played them together in that game more than any other game throughout the season, even to this point. They played 21 minutes together in that game. That forced Dylan Cardwell off the floor. They played more Chaney Johnson. And so that's kind of the chess match I'm watching as well, is how they maneuver those front court rotations and who ends up playing the majority of the game. Because Condon won that matchup. And this is why I think Broome is going to be motivated for this game, because Condon won that matchup the first time around.
Yeah, let's hit on Houston and Duke here really quickly before we go to break. And by the way, for Quinn, for his record keeping, you did just say if Janai Broome gets around 100%, you'd like Auburn to win the game.
Yeah.
So I just hope he heard that.
He doesn't have to hear it.
I hope he heard it.
A heckler ain't gonna bother me, son.
Well, you're in a real road environment here, pal.
That's fine.
You got a real hostile environment.
I got so much industry around me, I feel safe.
You should. American manufacturing, my friend. I think those are American.
Love San Antonio.
Who was the conglomerate yesterday?
Yeah.
Was it Houston was a conglomerate?
Yeah, you kept calling Houston a conglomerate.
Well, they are a conglomerate.
And then you specified and said a national conglomerate, which still didn't take away the confusion.
I can't be held liable for anything I said yesterday. I mean, I just don't really remember.
The best singer on the panel.
That's right, as you guys saw. But that will be sealed. Kelvin Sampson had some interesting comments today about Jon Scheyer.
Let's hear it.
I'm paraphrasing here, but he was basically like, if you want to know how good a job he's doing, it's the fact that we don't talk about him anymore. He just replaced arguably the greatest coach in college basketball history, and we don't really talk about that anymore because he's picked up and he's kept it going, right? He's kept the Duke tradition going. So about this job that Jon Scheyer has done, which I think gets a little overlooked because getting 2 top 10 guys who need the ball to play together as well as he's done it, I think that gets overlooked about the job he's done.
Are you referring to Cooper and Kahn, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
I actually think
I
actually think the fact that Cooper can play without the basketball has been one of the biggest helps for him. Like, he's such a willing, connective piece. That's where it kind of changes. But going back to Jon Scheyer, for him to you kind of saw it in year one. He was willing to adapt. He was willing to experiment according to what kind of team he had. This year, he talked to Brad Stevens, and I was kind of going to be to my point about UConn, size, length. There's no replacement for length. Silas Demery is going to UConn. That's big news.
What?
Yes.
Big news. Also
big
news. Yeah.
Big news. But I
Getting
think
MII
understanding how to recruit the guys that are good for you, the length, the size, there's no replacement for that. And then having your best player be arguably your most unselfish player, those things help. John understands that. And I think, John's so smart. He understands how to push the right buttons. That's one thing that sticks out to me more than anything. And I think, he talked to Jeff. He was like, there's a method to my madness. And he told me the same thing last summer. He's bringing in some of these veteran pieces, guys who have been elite role players, to come alongside some of these guys. And it's fit like a glove. Those guys have been really, a cohesive unit, and guys that are willing to buy into roles. Like Mason Gillis could have come to a new situation and gotten pissed that he wasn't starting. Hadn't done that. So I think a lot of these things are puzzle pieces. You guys have heard that time and time again. But at the same time, you have to be able to get those guys to buy in. And money helps. Yeah. Money does help. However, there's still attitudes. You still want to play.
It's also a situation with this becoming more professionalized, right? With college basketball becoming more professionalized, a lot of those guys in those situations, like Mason Gillis, have to accept that they're not here to try to develop into being an NBA guy. That'd be great if it does, but you're also being brought in and paid a whole bunch of money to be able to be someone that can do a job to help this team in this moment win. Yeah. And I think that's I'm assuming, I haven't sat there and asked John Scheyer about it specifically, but I'm assuming that when he started recruiting Mason Gillis, his pitch was, you've won a lot in college. Yeah. We need veteran experience that knows how to win. We need guys that are big, that are switchable, that can make threes, and that can do a job. We're bringing you in for that. Yeah. His pitch to Malik Brown, you're going to come in, you're going to play 20 minutes a game, you're going to be our switchable guy. We've seen how that works at the 5 spot when you have 2 different guys that can play 20 minutes a game and do it 2 different ways. You're going to come in and do that. Sion James, same thing. Yep. Sion James,
he's been awesome. Not getting enough credit is Sion James. It's unbelievable.
And he said before the season, I read something. Sion James went into John Scheyer's office and said, "Hey, I know I'm coming from the mid-major level. I know I'm up against Con Knipple and Cooper Flagg and Isaiah Evans and a lot of guys, a lot of high-profile recruits, a lot of high-profile transfers. If I earn it, can I be a starter if I earn it, right?" And Scheyer was like, yes, of course. And obviously that played out throughout the season. The one thing that I think that there are similarities between this team and the 2014-2015 Kentucky team that almost ran the table, made it to the Final Four, lost to Wisconsin. Yeah. And the difference is, or the similarities are, all those guys. Think Devin Booker came off the bench. Yeah, think about that. So you need – and the buy-in stuff, that sounds good, and you can have a coach go into your living room and say, hey, we need everyone to buy in and we'll win championships. And, the recruit will sit there and say, sounds great. But when you get to campus and roles get allocated and shots get allocated, I don't want to hear about your team chemistry in the spring or in the summer. I don't care because none of that stuff is played out yet. So for them to go into the season, for Isaiah Evans to maybe have expectations of starting and not – and then still buy into – I saw him come into the ACC tournament in a more elevated role and defend his ass off.
Yeah, and that wasn't a thing he was doing.
No, it wasn't, but he's bought into it. And I think you need to have like-minded individuals to come onto your team to give yourself a chance. Talent's great, and they have a lot of it. But getting that buy-in piece and having guys that say, okay, if we win – Karl Anthony Towns averaged 10 and 7 at Kentucky. If we win and we go far, all your skill, that's all going to be shown on a high level. And all the NBA stuff, all that stuff you want is on the other side of winning. It's not on the other side of where can I go where everyone else clears out and I can get my usage and my production.
So that fires me up right there.
They've bought in.
Everything you want's on the other side of winning.
That's exactly right. Speaking of which, we got a star-studded lineup here coming up on the show. Jeff Goodman is here. We're going to catch up with Matt Painter here.
Jeff Goodman's here?
Jeff Goodman is here. Oh. Maybe not so relevant to being a winner, but he's here. So a lot more to come here. Stick with us. Field 68 live from San Antonio.
The teams that win consistently are not just the most talented teams. They're the ones where the coaches truly understand their players. That's why we're excited to partner with Profile. They're changing the game with their behavioral assessment tools that help coaches connect with their athletes on a deeper level. We're thrilled to announce that Profile CEO Chad Brown is going to be joining us at our Final Four event in person in San Antonio. With the transfer portal and NIL deals, coaches need every single advantage that they can get. Profile helps programs cut through the noise and understand exactly what motivates each player and what development strategies are going to work best for them. We've talked to coaches nationwide who say that Profile has transformed how they evaluate in the portal and develop their players. Instead of guessing, they have real insights into what makes each one of those human beings tick. Whether you're coaching at the college level or want to understand the blueprint behind great teams, check out profilebehavior.com to learn more about Profile. Owning property in the state of Texas is difficult enough. Paying taxes on your property should not make your life any more complicated. Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying property taxes, you should only pay what's fair. In under 3 minutes, you can sign up and have their team of Texas experts start saving you money without a single upfront cost. It's easy. When you sign up, you get an instant estimate of the tax savings they can get you so that when that property tax bill comes due, the amount that you have to fork over to Uncle Sam isn't quite as painful. Put property tax money back in your pocket in just minutes. 86% of customers receive a reduction with an average savings of more than $1,100. Imagine how much less stress you'll have in your life knowing that you could take some of the money that you have earmarked for the IRS and spend it on, an 85-inch flat screen to watch March Madness. The deadline to protest is May 15th for most Texas counties. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/CBB. That's OWNWELL.com/CBB.
Welcome back, Field of 68 live from San Antonio. We're joined now by Purdue coach Matt Painter. Thanks for being with us.
Wait, I don't get an intro?
Do you need an intro, dude? It's your network.
I mean, come on. I just got here. I get nothing? I get nothing.
That's another HR complaint, harassment from management. Let's talk about the success that you have had in the portal. Oscar Clough, that was a big addition. How excited are you about him coming into the program?
Yeah, obviously when you get into the portal and you're trying to add pieces and add a physicality, and that's what we weren't a great rebounding team. We're able to help ourselves there, able to help our physicality, but very fortunate to land somebody of that stature, but also to give us that need. And that was more than anything with Daniel Jacobson coming back. Trey Kaufman-Wren had a great year, and just trying to solidify our front line and hopefully make a deep run again next year.
All right, so if you do make a deep run next year, obviously Braden Smith's going to be a big piece of that. Maybe the best point guard in the country this year. Is he back? Is he back 100%? And kind of give us the update.
Yeah, you guys live in that crazy world where you see it, but
it's horrible. It's a horrible world.
But we live in that world too, and so it's the one thing about anything that you go through when it's the same for everybody. And I think you see that now and how everything is set up, that everybody is out there, and just think if the NBA had free agencies and there's only 1-year contracts. How crazy would that world be? And now, yeah,
they would never let that happen.
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
we got to get some guardrails that are a little bit better than we have right now. But no, Braden Smith's been fabulous, man. He's a big time passer. He's really grown each year. The fact that 2 years ago Zack Edey had the most field goals in the country. This year, Trey Kaufman-Wren had the most field goals in the country, and then Braden to have more assists this year after losing Zack Edey is just an unbelievable, accomplishment. But he's done more than that. He scored the basketball for us. He made a big-time defensive play at the end of the Houston game that should have given us the ball and a chance to win the game. But he stepped up for us, and he's deserving of being a first-team All-American.
his performance against Houston, that second half. I said this to Jeff, and Jeff looked at me like I had three heads again. I thought that his second half against Houston was one of the best point guard performances I've ever seen. You guys had 12 field goals. He had 12 assists on the 12 field goals. Against that defense, with the way that they guard ball screens, what he did, that was unbelievable.
And that's what makes it special is just everybody's respect here for Houston's defense and how they handle ball screens, how they handle post traps, how they handle everything, and how they go at it. It's like when you press somebody, you get impressed by somebody, and you feel like there's 6 cats out there. Like there's 6 guys out there. Like that's how it is to go against Houston sometimes. It's like you get people in rotations and you're like, hey, this is the end here. We're going to shoot this 3. Or we're going to drive this closeout. Well, they get at the end of the rotations and they shut your water off. So for his ability to get around them and manipulate the defense and be able to make the plays that he did. And then our guys stepped up and made shots. And we had a stretch there in the first half where we didn't. But that's the whole thing. Can you get quality shots against Houston's defense? And we were able to do so.
So break it down. How does Duke do that? Like how do you go about – because I thought you guys were about as effective against their defense as anybody's
we wanted
been.
to invite doubles, and a lot of people can't get out of their doubles. But we just felt with their elite athleticism, their quickness, their length, Tugler is so good in the ball screens. But Braden was good enough, we felt, to get out of that. We tried to reload some things and set more re-screens to get them running a lot, even if we had to do it 3 times. We wanted Trey Kaufman-Renn to get the ball, but not get the ball deep, which kind of goes against everything that you say to a player, because when you get the ball deep, you're going to get fouled more, you're going to shoot a better percentage. But they swarm you deep, and they get a tight double on you deep, and it's harder to get the ball out of there. We were just trying to get the ball at that 12 to 15 foot mark, in between, not too close to the baseline, not too close to the elbow, but in between. So when they came on that baseline double, we could dribble out of it, get a clean pass, now get them in a real rotation, try to get a shot out of it or a drive out of it, just to get them playing from behind as much as we can, whether that was ball screens or post-ups, because they're pretty good at, like, when you're coming off screens, they're pretty good at staying with and making that kind of action hard.
8 Sweet 16 appearances for Purdue basketball since 2006. I hope people understand and appreciate and respect how difficult that is. One of the most consistent programs in America. How do you do it? How to what would you ascribe Purdue basketball and Matt Painter's consistency with tournament success?
Yeah, good players, good coaches, but a lot of our growth has been from figuring out who we can sign and who we can't. I think a lot of times we've signed 1 McDonald's All-American in 20 years, but yet we've had a lot of college All-Americans. So development's been our deal, treating guys the right way, talking to them about their game, being honest about their game. And I think a lot of times when you get to that and you have that honesty, you're really going to have great role definition. But you're also in this world of the portal, everybody wants to play shortstop and lead off. So now that's difficult sometimes trying to keep guys. But
you've still done it.
We've still done it.
Trey is a great example.
Yeah, but Trey is very cerebral. Trey's very tough. Trey trusts his work. And he knew it was just a matter of time when he got that opportunity that he was going to take advantage of that. But we've had better players than we get credit for. Like our players have been
100%.
really good, but it's also we're very fortunate where we sit in the state of Indiana, with Chicago 2 hours away, Indianapolis away. The state of Ohio has had a lot of great players. Michigan, like you could go on and on. The state of Illinois. So we're in a really good place with a lot of good players, with a lot of good high school coaches.
Yeah, and you've stepped it up since the humble days of talent. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
See, that
he was
went on
fabulous.
record. You've been on now for 6 minutes, and we didn't get a humble
Pretty
joke
good.
in
That's
before
pretty
that.
good.
You
Show
had
you a
6
picture of Humble
minutes.
later. I can't. He's told me if I tweet it out, he has threatened to quit the podcast at least 100 times. This one, I believe him. You'll see it later. If I tweet this out, I think he'd be done.
Where would his career be without Robbie Hummel?
No doubt.
I mean, he wouldn't have
doubt.
There you go. RevShare coming in probably on Monday. I mean, this whole decision is Monday from the House settlement.
Right.
I've said this over and over, and I really do believe it. Like, when you do decide to retire, you should run college basketball. You probably don't want to.
No, I don't.
I know you don't, but
Somebody's
I
got to
really
do
believe
it.
that.
Somebody's got to do it.
No, but like
they
you're-
need a commissioner.
You're
There's
cerebral. You get it. Everybody knows how clean you've been over the course of your career, so the respect is there.
Right.
Where do you stand now with everything that may happen? Because
Right.
everybody's front loading these deals this year, Matt.
Correct.
Yourself probably included.
I'm included.
You guys have to,
I am included.
right?
You
So-
have to.
Yeah, you have to.
If
right
anybody's out there not doing it,
Yeah.
they're not doing their job.
Correct. So
I mean, just like
this year's kind of a free for all.
So
is
the,
it
so,
not?
Yeah. So the landmark day here on Monday is now, as you kind of comb through that and kind of figure that out. Like, we just want some consistency, but we want to know like we can't be juggling stuff here now for 2, 3, 4 more years. Like get some guardrails, get us set here, and then let us take off. And then next year, trying to get to where there's it's not going to be a hard cap.
No, it is not.
No, it is
No,
not.
it is
as
not.
we all know, but it's got to be more similar.
Maybe
than
a hard
different.
cap for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Some of those other guys.
But like that right there, you got to adapt to it. You got to adjust to it. Like, if you want to whine and cry and go back and forth, we've all went kicking and screaming for a while, but now you got to push past that and then come into today's world and get it done. The thing that I don't want to lose and what I want is I still want to be able to coach guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want this to where now you can't coach guys, because that's the whole thing, man. That's your job. Like, you're trying to get them better. Yeah. Like, when guys come, like, hey, do you have a dream of being an NBA player? And if that answer is no, like, who the hell's going to say no, first of all? But, like, if that, like you don't want them. Like, you want guys that are having dreams, but they also, fools have one dream. You've got to have 2 dreams. When you get in this kind of opportunity, you shouldn't have an advantage in basketball. You should have an advantage in life. Like, don't ruin this opportunity. And then 99% of these guys are not pros. So, like, you know how many times a scholarship has saved somebody? Mm-hmm. Like, education saves somebody. So I don't want to get away from that,
Which
because
we've gotten away.
because the top
a
1% to 2% are really damn good, and they're going to get paid. And I understand about the money it's generated, and these guys haven't got money. But there's a lot of other athletes and other sports that are out there, female athletes, Olympic sports, however you want to look at it. Well, they deserve opportunities too. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so we get all caught up in ourselves, and everybody deserves these kind of opportunities, because we're all supposed to be created equal. Like, I don't get sometimes when they get to this and they get on their high horse and they're like, well, coaches get to leave and they get to leave. And I say, whoa. What about opportunity for people to grow and develop and be a better player and be a better person? Let's don't get away from the gist of what we're here for.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, because even when you are a college athlete and a high-level college athlete, the point of going to college is to learn who you are, yes. Right? Like, you're getting there at 18 years old. You're going as a boy or a girl, and you're coming out as a man or a woman, right? And that's when you can bounce around to all these different places. And if it doesn't work well at one point, you transfer, you go to another school. You don't learn the hard. Like, you got to go through hard stuff in life.
No question.
That's the thing that I don't think people learn when they are able to just leave and go to a new place. You got to go through some shit to be able to.
Yeah, and that's what grows us all. How we handle the adversity. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the telltale.
Hold on, real quick.
Okay.
So you mentioned guardrails, right?
Yes.
What would they be for you?
Yeah. Well, what we want is just a cap that's the same for everybody, and that's not going to happen. So to me, that's first and foremost. Like, you get to a certain point, they've talked about name, image, and likeness can't be something that is guaranteed going forward. And so, like, the policing of everything that this company that will come in and do it, I think that's where I'm hesitant, because I haven't seen anybody do a real good job of policing things. Since the 30 years I've been in stuff. Like, guys do what they want to do, and like they could get in trouble or whatever, they just get another job 2 years later. Like, I've not seen any good police work on that. So being able to get that kind of consistency there is what we're really looking at, more than anything. Because if they're spending too much time policing everything, and I know this company is going to run it, but that's I'm not saying that can't happen, but that's what we want to see. We want to see how that goes. But they're going to have to submit everything. Everything is going to have to be submitted for approval to get from a name, image, and likeness standpoint.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll be back after the break. We're going to have more from Matt Painter and the guy who has made Matt Painter who he is today.
The teams that win consistently are not just the most talented teams. They're the ones where the coaches truly understand their players. That's why we're excited to partner with Profile. They're changing the game with their behavioral assessment tools that help coaches connect with their athletes on a deeper level. We're thrilled to announce that Profile CEO Chad Brown is going to be joining us at our Final Four event in person in San Antonio. With the transfer portal and NIL deals, coaches need every single advantage that they can get. Profile helps programs cut through the noise and understand exactly what motivates each player and what development strategies are going to work best for them. We've talked to coaches nationwide who say that Profile has transformed how they evaluate in the portal and develop their players. Instead of guessing, they have real insights into what makes each one of those human beings tick. Whether you're coaching at the college level or want to understand the blueprint behind great teams, check out profilebehavior.com to learn more about Profile. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today. I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Well, welcome back to the Field of 68 live from the Final Four. Rob Doss here. I got Jeff Goodwin. We're still joined by Matt Painter, and now we have with us Chad Brown, the CEO of Profile, an agency that helps provide behavioral analysis to coaches and helps advise them on how to, well, I guess you explain it. Why don't you explain what Profile does and how you guys work?
That happens a lot. I appreciate you asking. We asked this guy to come because a lot of times people don't understand what Profile does, but it's a software and consulting company that does personality assessments, and we're not a company. We've been going about 13 years without this guy. So, you know, like a lot of small startups, they have that investor, you know, or somebody to believe in. Well, he didn't invest. Well,
Not yet?
Another day. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But we do have a, you know, he believed in us early, and it was kind of during 2013, 14, kind of that timeline, do you think?
Yes.
When we started?
Yes.
And
How did you guys meet?
so, yeah. Sorry about the basically a card game. No, he's got to work on my profile.
Yeah. So he was college roommates with Brian Cardinal that played at Purdue.
Yeah.
And so he was walk on at Purdue football, GA there, and we had mutual friends, and we were playing cards, and I was complaining about our team. And then the next day he picked up the phone and called me and said, "Here's what I do. I think it could really help you." And we just kind of took off from there. And so we did every player that I had coached up to that point at Purdue. So it allowed you to see a personality test of somebody you coached for 4 years instead of somebody you're trying to decide whether you want to coach them or not. Yeah. And so it's to me, the best way I can put it in layman's terms is it doesn't give you the answers, but it gives you more questions that can lead to your answers. And because it's not an end all be all. It's a tool in the toolbox, and then you got to be able to decipher kind of through some things.
So go through the process a little bit, Chad, and how it works when you. I mean, I'd love the assessment on paint.
Sure.
I'd love to see that one.
Well, you make it simple. Like, these have been around. Assessments have been around for 75 years in business. Sports just didn't use them, and nobody had a way to give it to a recruit on a phone or get information fast. So we've got a lot of our team over here. Like, I met a really genius software engineer. He's been my business partner for 13 years. His name's Dylan Marsh. Like, we, figured out how to give it fast. He's paints. They're tight. And so, but like, how do you give it when you're recruiting? And so, sports didn't have it, and we met through Brian at this card game, and I said, "Would you be interested?" And you'd had, probably not your favorite season, and you were like, "Yeah, let's look at it." So he took it, and I gave him.
Just when I had you in the hot seat?
Yeah, when you had me in the hot seat, and deservingly so. Like,
I will give him credit.
Yeah,
I was comfortable in the hot seat.
The only coach ever who has called me and been like, you know what? I deserve to be in the hot seat.
Well, yeah, he was looking. We became a data point for him. But where Coach has been unbelievable is I call him. Purdue basketball, even though I went to school there, we didn't know each other a long time ago. He believed in us, and it was a little bit of a lab. Like, we had one assessment, then we got, grew with a second assessment. I'll never remember talking about a recruit with you one time on the phone, and the part we weren't factoring in were people's backgrounds. They're external, we call it. And so Payne's like, we got to look at that too. So we've grown, and he's helped us learn. And it's been 13, 14 years now. It's a lot better. So
yeah, what you end up getting to is somebody can have a perfect personality for you, which there's really no such thing. But you get in the room with two type A personalities, and they're on different ends of you're in trouble. It's coming, right? So you just have to be able, and sometimes getting guys just knowing how to manage it, knowing what's coming. But to me, more than what he does, combing through everything that he does helps you with the external. And the external are just
that's so important.
Yeah, because you get to it. Do you have somebody close to you that's going to be detrimental, that's going to stop you from being able to coach them? Are you going to burn down the dorms? There's just
Well, there's a reason. I mean, listen, there's a reason for. You guys are really good on the court. You're really good on the court. But I will say this: the character of your players that you brought in, Hummel notwithstanding,
he's the captain.
Has been incredible.
He's going to quit your show.
I know he's going to quit. I get it.
Do you know how many times you've heard that, Payne? Do you know how many times you've heard that? We need to get a profile on Robbie Hummel who doesn't follow through on his threats. Doesn't follow through on his threats.
That's what you get to, right? That's your bookmark. You go and say, what's E'Twaun Moore's? What's Juwan Johnson's? What's Robbie Hummel's? Because that was the most success that we had. But those guys were simple, man. You talk about low to no maintenance. They I'm not saying they're perfect.
The ball, right?
Yeah, but Rob did it for us because Rob ended up being an All-American and he was a role player. You just never thought they went together. We ran stuff for E'Twaun Moore, we ran stuff for Juwan Johnson. We would run some things a little bit for him, but he proved just his unselfishness, how he played the game, how he hustled. So I wanted to see his disc right away. Let's get there. But there's more things around it. You got to find out how somebody is socially. Education. If you want to talk about transfers, and you want to get down to it, make them think about getting a quality education at your place, and they come there, and that's part of the equation. Because it's going to be a part of the equation if they want to leave. Now they're like, damn, I'm not going to get my degree at Purdue. And make them think, because that's the whole thing. You got to be able to get them, and then you got to be able to keep them. Because if you can't keep them, you can't develop them. So now we're just picking up teams. You know what I mean? This is slow pitch softball. We're just picking up teams for the weekend. Roll the keg in. Here, let's just have a hell of a time here. But more than anything, the attrition and being able to get guys, keep guys, but keeping your core together. And that's huge. But if you're not working towards some of this, and sometimes this is going to be a little bit of a risk. But it going in. It's not you're not flipping quarters and saying man, if I'd have known this, I wouldn't have taken him. We're more along the lines hey, let's pass on this because of where we are, or the same person, hey, let's take this because, I need a big guy. Yeah. When you get to the end, sometimes it's difficult. It's tough to sign. I signed Braden Smith, man. It's tough to sign a true point guard behind Braden Smith. Who wants that view? People don't want to do that. They want to play. Yeah. So sometimes you
got to find that right guy.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah. But these guys work at it too. He loves data, and so when it comes to fit, I've seen, great players that come through the system, and doesn't mean he wouldn't take a great player, but hey, he studied it so much. Yeah. I don't know. Let's keep talking to the guy, but maybe that kid goes to play for Izzo. Yeah. And it bits up him up there a little more than it has for him. And I know that's subjective, but they work hard at it too.
Yeah, we've benefited from not being able to get elite players. And people when I say that, they look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, my guy is going to be more coachable. My guy is going to stay here longer. My guy's not quite as good as your guy, but Our thing is how good can we be collectively?
Yeah.
It's not
Chemistry,
tennis. It's not.
all of it.
And so, but you got to have a couple studs. So like that guy that you took at 108.
That was Braden.
That's
He wasn't 108. He was 308.
Yeah, that's Carson Edwards. And then Jay Nivey was 93. But Jay Nivey could run a lot of events in a track meet. Like Carson Edwards, people be like, you guys did a great job. When I came into his high school to Tascasita, he was hitting pull-up 40-footers when I was at 16. Like he just had that. So you got to be able to have A.J. Hammonds or Caleb Swanigan, or like you got to still have a couple main guys.
Right.
But in basketball, it's a beautiful thing if you can make threes and dribble, pass, and shoot, and you get a couple studs there. Now you can blend. Everybody's in roles, and it's good. The problem is everybody wants to play shortstop and lead off. That's the problem. Like you can only have one damn shortstop.
Well, there've been times too. I think it's important for people to know where you would look at the assessment, especially early,
Right.
and I may go, and then he takes them anyway,
Yeah.
and it works out.
that
You know what I mean?
It
Yeah.
worked
So
out.
like, I'm not afraid to say like, hey, this didn't
Well, it's
fit
not
in what's
perfect,
benchmark, right?
Of course.
But like, there's
So
one,
he wouldn't speak
like
up. He
recruiting.
wouldn't speak up on things right away as much. But when he did, he was absolute and he was always right. So I would say speak on it more. He'd say, well, I'm not 100% sure about it. He goes, I'm not like, but when he was absolute, I'm not going to say the player's name because he ended up being a good player for me. And more or less the dude was squirrely. And like, he was just like, man, like don't, just for layman, right? So we just know without going in technical. He was just squirrely. And I was squirrely when I was 17, 18 years old. So like me and this guy got along great. And like whatever. And I'd always tell him that. Like, yeah, I respect some of these other guys, but I understand you, brother. Like I was you. Like
that was still fit.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
still fit.
And he had a great career for us. But we had some stumbling blocks there. And those stumbling blocks are what he called. He said, like, hey, man, this is going to happen here. You're going to have some issues
But
here.
as long as you know getting in.
Right, no doubt.
Big difference. How has this expanded? Paint was like number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
How has this expanded? How many programs are you working with now?
Well, like, I'll give Coach credit. He knew we were a business. We're, trying to grow a business. And he was like, listen, I'll never forget in your backyard one time, he goes, I don't want to know. He's like, because we knew we were working with other people. Honest, head coach just wants to compete and play you straight. He's like, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And basically, as we grew, this was, like, our second client was Shaka Smart at VCU. Thad Mata, Ohio State. Larinaga was at Miami. Those were early days where we have kind of clunky software and one assessment, and it's grown through the years. I always tell people duct tape and credit cards is really how it started. But we kept kind of working at it, and so it's grown. Bruce Pearl sent a nice text. He said, you got back-to-back Final Four teams. He sent that to us the other day, and I was like,
Pretty good.
yeah, it's
Pretty
it's
good.
awesome. Yeah, but Illinois, Wisconsin, there's a lot of Big Ten teams, probably just not quite half the league. But yeah, I go over to Ohio State. I'm like, it's about Jake and those guys, right? But he's, I can't thank Coach enough. We're friends, but it's also help us get going to help other teams because it's.
And
that's why.
80% of the people like call me and like get on the phone with me for like 45 minutes, and you can just.
Are they skeptical at first?
Yes.
Of like what, right?
Yes.
What is it?
What
right?
they normally are skeptical at the beginning is the perception of when they do it with a recruit.
Sure.
Like you're sitting there. So what I've always tried to do with it is let me send you mine.
Okay.
So now, and then when they come there, Brownie does a thing with our team, and like the seniors have heard it 4 times and they get a little bit tired of it, but they come in there and they said, because some people will do it and some people won't. They won't pay any attention to it. They might do it like that's just the way young people are.
Sure.
And so like he'll go through all the stuff and be like, here, this is who you play for.
Yeah.
So just make sure like so the education should be both ways, but you got to be vulnerable enough as a coach to say like, here's who I am.
Yeah,
So
and I remember there's a lot of head coaches that like that. They liked us. They added because we'll speak to the team to teach it to them. This is who you play for, though. Details and rule follower and things like that. Like, pay attention.
Gotta know
how to
that.
communicate, how not to communicate. And so it does. Sometimes the guys that Fletch and Braden they're like, all right, we've done this, but he's gonna reiterate to them. We want to improve and make sure communication's right.
So we are with Chad Brown, CEO of Profile. Paint said earlier he hasn't had elite guys. Apparently he forgot that he's got a first-team All-American point guard.
They're
and
pretty
he
good at
just
development,
graduated
too.
the 2-time National Player of the Year, the most dominant player I've ever seen in college basketball.
Right.
Does he count as elite or?
He became elite.
Yeah, he
became
became
elite. So what is
Zack.
it?
yeah.
Well,
I was amazed.
Couldn't
of,
dribble
like,
and chew gum when he got to you, right?
He was pretty good when he got there. He couldn't handle, like, not elbowing somebody in the head for like 5 games. Like, I don't know if he got doubled before. You know, he averaged 3-4 points. He backed up Mark Williams at IMG, and he got there. And then all of a sudden, after 6-7 games, we have an assistant, Brandon Brantley, that works with our bigs, does a great job. And then all of a sudden, like, he just like was in tune with it, almost had to tuck his elbows in. Whenever you're a big guy and you're young, they always say chin the basketball and protect the basketball. Right. But when he chins it and he turns, your head's where his elbow is. Right. So he had to almost tuck his elbows in. So after that, like now it was just, he was turning it over 4 or 5 times a game. But after like 7-8 games, like he got it figured out. He went from like an average passer to a good passer, then he ends up being a great passer. So like fundamentally, he just kept working, and he's so physical. But you know, give him credit. Like Zack Edey he put in a lot of time, man. He worked really hard.
So my question for you is, we've heard all about Zack Edey's work ethic. Right?
Sure.
Were there markers of that you saw when early on, and what can you look for in a person that maybe would have that kind of a sign?
Well, it was like when he's telling the story about basketball, my brain is over here going, Brandon Brantley and Zack Edey are very similar. Behaviorally, they need details, they need routine, they need consistency, and it doesn't always work like that, right? But not only is Brandon awesome at development, you know what I mean, but that really jived. And so I'm like, he needs those things. And through the years, right, there's other things that
Zack needs repetition.
Repetition.
So Zack would just go up, and he broke Brandon's seat up in the office because he would always go up there and just like, first of all, saturate it, like not shower, and go up there and just saturate it, just ruin it. And then he broke it. Yeah. But like he would go up there and sit with Brandon after practice every day, 45 minutes to an hour, every day.
Yeah. You needed somebody that would mesh with
yes,
that.
100%.
And he just slowly but surely,
right.
You know, Andy, you know, he's just so physically dominant. Like don't ever leave that out of the equation.
Yeah, like that part.
Because that's the nucleus of it.
The thing that stands out to me about Zack now at the next level, there was he got into it with Draymond Green the other day, and I don't know if it's because he's from Purdue or if it's because he's what it is, but it feels like people are trying to test him in the NBA, and I don't care where you are, NBA, WWE, MMA, UFC, like you don't want to test that dude.
No, not at all. And he's really like, if you look at behavior, like we always do an exercise of Draymond Green, like, do you want him on your team? Well, sure. Do you want 5 of them? Well, but see, like, why do you want 1 of them? Because there's some good things. With Zack, he's not an angry personality, but you push him a little far, and he's physically imposing, that combo doesn't work either, right? People compete differently. Some people are verbal and fast-paced, want to be liked. Some people are angry and direct. Some people are analytical and love to be, the data,
That's direct.
All that stuff.
I'll tell you a story.
Yeah.
So I think you were there. Were you there for that?
Mm-hmm.
So when you guys get to the championship game, you end up winning in the semis. Mm-hmm. I'm doing an interview with him post-game. I've been awesome with Zack the whole way through.
Yeah.
I think you remember. I've been awesome. But I said one thing that was like, I don't know if he can really play in the NBA and be a first-round pick because I just, with the way the game is.
Sure. Yeah.
He's going to have to find the right situation and
Right.
the right guy. So he looks at me before we start the interview and he goes, hey, you still don't think I could play in the NBA? And I'm like, I never said that. I never said you couldn't play in the NBA. But it was good. Like, hey, he's got some
Motivated
shit to
him.
him.
Yeah.
And he'll say it.
And he's not gonna. He doesn't forget that
appreciate
stuff.
that.
He keeps it.
But I appreciate guys like that.
Yeah.
Right.
We
He's
talked
listening.
about this.
Totally, yeah.
I want a guy who's on it. You do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You don't want a guy who's gonna,
Yeah, he believes in himself.
Totally.
There's no
Right.
question about that.
No question. Yeah, and but those are kind of things where it's not always about, you asked about what did we see. Did we want years ago, like you could give this to Tom Brady, have some quarterback in Texas take, and that's the next Tom Brady. In the beginning, I was like, maybe, like silver bullet here. Right. That's really not how it works through all these years. But
you can't do that.
Yeah, but like, can I see
that.
how this coach works with that player?
You can do that. Payne will win every title.
No question. So yeah, but it's communication and it's all that stuff that's like, just let you, like Coach said, like you're not guessing. Eliminates guesswork.
All right, Chad Brown, CEO of Profile. Can we invite everybody to the party tonight?
You can, absolutely.
Tell them where it is.
Yeah,
Let everyone know where it is.
We've got an event tonight, 1902, here in San Antonio, Texas. That's a nightclub, but it's a little professional development meets Vegas. I'm going to wear my coat, which I know you like my coat. So I know you hate it. I know. Yeah, no.
I'm wearing this.
This is it?
I wore
all
a
you
Hey, Payne is dressed up right now.
I know he is dressed up. So
This is nice.
yeah, I put this coat
Sunday
on.
duds.
He walked in and gave me the look when I had this coat on. So, but yeah, no parties tonight. It's just to bring all our clients. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah, well, I will absolutely be there. Goodman's going to be there. We're going to make sure that he's out there fist pumping.
Oh yeah,
to the music.
you and I will dance a little bit.
I
We're just getting to know
promise
each
you-
other. So.
Hey, we will get you at least 10 clients if you can get Jeff Goodman on the dance floor tonight.
All right, we're gonna work on that one. We're going. I know you're tired. You know.
We got a lot more to come. Field of 68 live from the Final Four here in San Antonio. Smoke Sky Bar coming up next. The teams that win consistently are not just the most talented teams. They're the ones where the coaches truly understand their players. That's why we're excited to partner with Profile. They're changing the game with their behavioral assessment tools that help coaches connect with their athletes on a deeper level. We're thrilled to announce that Profile CEO Chad Brown is going to be joining us at our Final Four event in person in San Antonio. With the transfer portal and NIL deals, coaches need every single advantage that they can get. Profile helps programs cut through the noise and understand exactly what motivates each player and what development strategies are going to work best for them. We've talked to coaches nationwide who say that Profile has transformed how they evaluate in the portal and develop their players. Instead of guessing, they have real insights into what makes each one of those human beings tick. Whether you're coaching at the college level or want to understand the blueprint behind great teams, check out profilebehavior.com to learn more about Profile. College basketball fans, are you ready to take your hoops game to a new level? Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just trying to win your March Madness office pool, Rhythm is here to give you the edge this season. With data-driven predictions for every single college basketball game left on the schedule, Rhythm helps you maximize your bets. And as March Madness kicks off, Rhythm's insights will help you spot those plucky Cinderellas that you know are going to shake up the NCAA tournament. But that's not all. When Selection Sunday rolls around, let Rhythm's AI-powered bracket generator do the heavy lifting for you. This is the same AI tool that performed 35% better than the average ESPN bracket last year. And here's the best part. Rhythm pairs perfectly with our Field of 68 expert analysis, giving you the 1-2 punch that you need for the rest of the college basketball season. So don't wait. Download Rhythm today and get ready to see college basketball and your betting results in a whole new light. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 live from the Final Four. We are at Smoke Sky Bar, 1100 East Houston Street in downtown San Antonio. John Fanta, Jeff Goodman. Hello, Terrence Oglesby and Rob Douster. And
Thrilled to be here.
Terrence, have you met Quinn yet?
Where's Quinn?
I met Quinn. We've
Where's
talked
Quinn?
already. He's
We
back
talked.
there. He's putting a dent in those Coronas. I'll tell you that
We haven't
much.
talked on the air, though. Should we
Quinn's
bring
coming
Quinn
over soon.
No, he's not.
Oh,
Over
Quinn's
now?
coming
All
over
right,
soon.
well, Quinn, come on up here.
Oh,
Go.
we're bringing
Give
Quinn
Quinn
up
a round of
already.
applause.
Bring him up.
Quinn, a
Wasted
round
no
of applause.
time.
Come on, Quinn, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is.
Come around.
All right, Quinn.
Come around.
All right, Quinn.
So, go ahead, Jeff.
Quinn, I'm just giving you the mic. I mean, there he is.
He's already given me a piece of his mind so far.
But we need it. I mean,
So you weren't happy with me saying that Janai Broom might be a little hobbled. You think he's 100%?
No, the thing that bothered me is you said the most dumbest, stupidest shit ever.
Me?
When you said that Todd Golden would be manipulating and having the game on strings like a puppet,
Like the Godfather.
acting like he's not going against his mentor and one of the best coaches in the game is the most stupidest fucking things I have ever heard.
All right.
And you're
We're
the
It's a
live.
family
We're
program.
live.
and you're the guy
Family
who's
show.
Reeling in a little bit.
finishing ninth in the SEC.
I changed it to 6.
6.
Hey,
That
family
ain't
show.
much better.
Family show.
That's not much better.
Family
There's
show.
They
children
cuss
watching.
on it all the time.
Well,
Oh,
that's
that-
good.
well-
Also true.
Okay.
That's true. Oh, thank you to the behind-the-scenes crew for that. So, I mean, Rob, what's your take on this? Terrence is normally always right. I mean, he's normally accurate. He was accurate on Michigan State.
Right.
I hate giving T.O. credit for anything, and he gets a lot of stuff right. So I
got a
love
lot of
nothing
stuff
more.
wrong.
I love nothing more than T.O. getting something very wrong, and having people here call him on it. Okay. Oh! He went Gators. He went
For it, didn't he?
Oh, man.
No, hey, look. Hey, Auburn's great team this year. I'm not taking anything away, but we're talking about two great teams.
I
So
think
there's
it
gonna
might be a
there's
little
gonna
bit
be-
of jealousy because you know that Clemson is Auburn Junior, so I think there might be a little jealousy mixed into your analysis. So
I'm sorry we don't have the trees. I appreciate you. He's comforting me. Ladies and
All
gentlemen,
All right.
give him a
Quinn,
hand.
round of
sir.
applause
That was
here.
Quinn. That was
it
Quinn. There
is.
you go.
Thank
That
you,
was Quinn.
We can all
you.
be friends. We can all be
All
friends.
right.
There he is. Good.
That was great
Good.
stuff from Quinn. Let's dive into what we saw and heard today. You know, it was interesting, Jeff, because I just think it's so fascinating that here you have two coaches in the Auburn-Florida matchup, and Todd Golden just so happened to have played for Bruce Pearl at one point, albeit briefly, but it was in Israel. It was for Team USA representing them in the Jewish Olympics, and that United States team came back to beat Israel and win gold. So Todd talked about that, and then what happens when Bruce gets the Auburn job? He wanted people that he trusted, and Todd was one of the calls he made.
Yeah, I mean, Todd obviously came on at a lower level, came on as the ops guy, worked his way up, and look at what he's been able to do since. And you just look at the difference in kind of even the way they are as coaches, right? I mean, Todd certainly more analytically. Bruce is more feel, more. The big thing that Bruce has always kind of hung his hat on over the years is what? Getting his guys to play harder than everybody else. And now I think he's added in a different dimension where people understand, like kind of like the Scott Drew thing, right? These guys can coach too.
Yeah.
And whenever I would be around, actually both those guys, Bruce Pearl and Scott Drew, on the AAU circuit, wherever, the one thing they would both do, they would be picking everybody's brain next to them. Any big-time coach, if I was sitting next to him, Scott Drew, Bruce Pearl would be asking, they'd be working on stuff on napkins. Like whatever it was, they were trying to pick stuff up. And it's really interesting to see Bruce kind of how he's been able to adapt here.
Can I just say that I want everyone to understand how we're doing things here. We have these profile cups to help a sponsor, right? And so the whole point was to pour the beer into the profile cup, and Goodman ends up with the beer and the profile cup on the set at the same time. So that's just kind of where we are.
Uh-oh.
There he is.
Hey,
There he
The
is.
man right here.
the man.
We got Ryan Odom
Yeah,
here.
we are. We're
We
live.
got
So
Coach
we're
Odom
live.
here.
5 minutes,
Come here,
all right?
sit down.
All right, Coach.
Sit down, get a
We'll
drink
see
if
you
you
in
want.
just a few moments.
All right, Ryan Odom walks in,
Ryan
new
Odom just
coach.
moments away here. Yeah, we're
Virginia.
very excited to see him.
We are.
I think
Continue.
I love that point about Bruce being kind of the analytical guy, or Todd
Todd,
Golden being
yeah.
the analytical guy, and Bruce being the emotional kind of deal. And here's the cool part about it: as Bruce has gotten older, and you see it a lot with some of these coaches that have been around the block a little bit. If you can't hire the next head coach, you're not going to be a head coach. And you also need to hire guys that cover up your liabilities. I mean, you talk about what we're using right here, profile. They do it for assistant coaches too.
Yeah.
And for you to be able to recognize where your weaknesses are. So perfect example, like we did something like this too whenever I was coaching. Like if one guy's extremely analytical, I was a field guy, right? So it actually
Balance,
works in your favor. You have to find that balance, and then you look at Todd Golden being the analytical guy who's still passionate. He doesn't carry it the same way as Bruce, but you have to find a way to fill those gaps. And as Bruce has gotten older, he had some bad staffs at Tennessee. Like, as he's gotten older, he's hired a lot better.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
resulted
Mike
in Auburn being
Burgermeister.
at the Final
It's
Four.
like what we did at the field of 68, right? We got the guy that knows ball. We got the insider that has information. We got fan who can host and bring the energy, and we got
I
the
remember
only
my
guy
early stats
that'll
at the
actually
field of
reach for his
68.
wallet and pick up a tab. That's how we do it here.
They carried
That's it.
Yes, they did. They did carry me. What do you think early on with that particular matchup? What's your gut say?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'd love to say I have a great feel for this Florida-Auburn game. How can you? How can you have a great feel? Florida beat their ass earlier without Elijah Martin. Now, and that was when Auburn was playing really, really good basketball at that point. They're not quite the same team. Janai told me today he's fine. You know, Bruce said he practiced full. He was fine. You know, I don't have a great feel for how this is going to go down. I think it's a flip of the coin game, and that's what I love about this matchup.
Yeah, you were talking earlier about how you think it kind of depends on what Janai Broome is able to do defensively. I tend to agree. Like the way that Florida gets into their zoom actions and gets into some of those the ball screen stuff and kind of finds ways to be able to get Elijah Martin getting downhill and Will Richard getting downhill. The way that they utilize Walter Clayton against drop coverage, like that's what it's going to be. Like, how do you slow down those guards? Because Alex Condon's a really good player. He's a connective piece. Thomas Hog's a really good player. He's a connective. Like, those aren't the guys that you build your game plan around stopping. Like, keep them on the glass. Keep them off the glass. Don't let him get open threes, run him off the 3-point line. You know what I mean? Yeah. But
that's what Bruce said today. Bruce goes, "We have got to get on the glass." He goes, "That's what Florida does. They abuse you on the glass."
They got 5 big. Like Sam Alexis doesn't even play anymore since Handlogden got back.
But it's
they
crazy
because
you look at
that are SEC caliber.
Condon and Houck, and you're like, really? These two? Like, Mike is a big boy, but like Condon and Houck aren't overwhelming. You know what I mean? You look at Cardwell and Broome, and you're like, okay, these are big physical dudes. No, but it's true. Alex Condon is
not buying it.
Alex Condon is not an intimidating-looking dude. He plays his ass off.
He's how tall is he? 6'9", 6'10"?
Yeah, but he's
I'm
like
in
small.
6'11".
Yeah, he's 6'11". What are we talking about,
And he
Jeff?
played-
Put him next
you know
to
what he did?
Olivier
What do you-
Ryu.
What do you want?
He played a little, Australian rules football growing
Okay.
up, so he's got some shit to him.
Hey, when you put him next
All
to
I'm
Olivier
saying
Ryu,
is, Dylan Cardwell is a big dude. He's terrific defensively. Like, you just look at it and you're like, Auburn should be able to. They should be able to hang with him on the glass.
Let me ask you this. Does Todd Golden, if they get into the bonus, does he start fouling in the first half if Cardwell's on the floor? Because I think that's a real question.
I don't know if he does that.
He started fouling with 3 minutes to go in the second half the other day. I mean, we'll see what happens there.
well, we have a couple of coaches that are waiting in the wings, so we're going to take a break. We've got Ryan Odom, the new head coach at Virginia, coming up. We also have Pat Kelsey. Man, has he and his staff had a couple of days in the transfer portal, loading up for next year. Could they be a top 10 team? I'll tell you what, they look like they got the makings of a couple of ACC head coaches ahead on the field of 68.
Owning property in the state of Texas is difficult enough. Paying taxes on your property should not make your life any more complicated. Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying property taxes, you should only pay what's fair. In under 3 minutes, you can sign up and have their team of Texas experts start saving you money without a single upfront cost. It's easy. When you sign up, you get an instant estimate of the tax savings they can get you so that when that property tax bill comes due, the amount that you have to fork over to Uncle Sam isn't quite as painful. Put property tax money back in your pocket in just minutes. 86% of customers receive a reduction with an average savings of more than $1,100. Imagine how much less stress you'll have in your life knowing that you could take some of the money that you have earmarked for the IRS and spend it on, an 85-inch flat screen to watch March Madness. The deadline to protest is May 15th for most Texas counties. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/CBB. That's OWNWELL.com/CBB. I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today.
All right, welcome back here in San Antonio, just down the street from the Riverwalk. We're here at Smoke Sky Bar and Terrence Oglesby, and we got a couple ACC coaches here. Yeah. Ryan Odom, new coach in Virginia. Yeah. Pat Kelsey, the veteran. The veteran now at Louisville.
You're not the new guy anymore.
You're not the new guy anymore. You're not. What's it like, man? You're in Virginia.
I know, it's crazy.
Like you moved around a little bit lately.
I have.
Not you happen to be somewhere that you
I thought I was settled.
And you're going to be settled now.
All of a
you're
sudden,
going to be settled for a while
now.
I think, in Charlottesville.
Yeah, no question.
I think it's a perfect fit for you.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, certainly it's a great institution. I think it's a great fit from that perspective. I grew up there when my father was coaching in the 80s, and was familiar with it, and went to Hampton-Sydney College right down the road. Right. So still have a ton of teammates and friends that live in the Richmond area in the Commonwealth, and I have ties to UVA, and so obviously it's a tremendous basketball program over the years. The tradition has been with Coach Bennett and even before that, recent national championship in 2019, and so a lot of reasons to do this, and I'm very fortunate, to be the coach.
And it fits you a lot of ways, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I think it does. I mean, certainly VCU fit me too. I really enjoyed my time at VCU, and Ed was awesome, my AD there, and could have stayed there for a long, long time. And but this was too good to pass up.
How is it, for both of you? You're 1 year into it now. Louisville obviously has all this tradition. Virginia is much of the same thing. What would be your advice to him? And I know we're battling here throughout the course of the season, but when you're managing a program with such expectations in year one, what would kind of be the advice that you would give a first-year head coach in a very similar situation? Different schools, obviously, but a similar situation.
Yeah, it's a tough question because I would rather ask him advice. He orchestrated the greatest upset in the history of the NCAA.
And then went and got the job.
And then the team that he beats, he gets that job. I have such respect for Ryan. Known him forever and ever. We kind of came up through the business together, although he was born into the business. His dad and him talked about the pick and roll at the breakfast table. His dad's a legendary coach. And, we went head-to-head as assistants when he was with Coach Greenberg at Virginia Tech. And I felt like every single stinking time we called out a set at Wake Forest, Ryan stood up and he knew exactly what was coming. So we had to try to disguise our stuff a little bit better. But, man, he doesn't need any advice. He's one of the best coaches in America. He's going to kill it. He kills it everywhere he goes. I just hope he doesn't kill it that once or twice a year when he plays the Louisville Cardinals.
What's been the thing for you when you inherit a program like that? What's the first order of business? You got to rally the fan base. You got to rally the boosters, all these things. What's kind of been that like here in the early part of this offseason, really?
It's tough. It's way different than when he and I first got in.
Right.
Very kind words. Thank you. I have so much respect for you as well and what you've been able to do over the course of your career, winning everywhere, but also doing it the right way. And really good representative for our sport. But it's hard. You have to put your staff together, and that's really important. As you know, it's not just the head coach that's doing this. It's everybody surrounding the program that helps winning and impacts winning. And so that's the first order of business. Dealing with the current roster, reconstruction, and certainly when you take over a new job, that's really what it is. It becomes that pretty quickly because, once the previous coach exits, and obviously this was, kind of a different situation because coach retired in October.
Sure.
And then, the coaching staff did a great job all year of keeping that group together and really competitive. And then obviously at the end, there was a decision that was made. Well, throughout that year, the kids are thinking about it,
Sure,
and trying not to think about it, but they can't help it.
Of course.
And so, for us coming in there, we just wanted to be there for those guys with no judgment. But at the same time, we have to do what's right for Virginia basketball going forward too, and putting together the best roster that we can to compete, in what we really know is going to be a tough ACC next year.
Kels, I don't know what you can talk about legally here. I don't know how many of your guys that have signed so far, the transfers. But you've killed it so far. Maybe you don't even know. You don't even know what you're allowed to right now, do you?
I better
Right
ask.
before you hit me, I finally get my whole family to come to the Final Four. My daughters and my wife never come unless it's San Antonio.
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't met
Smart.
I
That's
think I met
smart.
your wife once. I was in Charleston for how long?
A
lot.
A while.
A lot.
Wow, she flies under the
I know
radar
she
a little
does.
bit. The girls want to know, is it hot? Is there a pool?
Yeah.
And if we have those two
You
things,
said yes
I'm
and yes.
coming. Johnny just wants to go to all this hoop stuff. We'll be the first ones in the door tomorrow at the Jam Fest.
That's
or Hoop
awesome.
Yeah,
Fest,
he
whatever
will.
the heck I'm talking an hour early.
Really?
Ready to walk
And
in.
he'll
And
go.
then the Louisville Cardinal managers.
Oh, yeah, they have a big
playing
game.
For a national championship.
Yeah, they are.
No way.
No way.
Manager
8
games.
teams down here, manager games.
That's
They took a
cool.
picture in the airport. Rain Smith, roles reversed. He was carrying their bags and carrying the
Shut up.
uniforms in the airport.
way.
They just touched down.
Good for Rain.
I mean, them dudes were in the gym all week working out. Instead of working our guys out, they're working themselves out.
Great.
So we'll be there tomorrow. The girls, Lisa, will be there cheering them on. It'll be fun. I forget the stinking question.
The
you asked me.
question was, you've hit it already in the portal. What has this been like? Because this is kind of year 2 of the mayhem, right? And it's gotten crazier. The numbers, I'm not going to ask you exact, but the numbers have gotten higher than they were last year when we thought it was all astronomical. It's gotten even higher because the rev share is coming in. So it's coming in soon. So all you guys are trying to front load this before the rev share gets in, correct?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say about the portal, it's, he's
Kelsey's going to try to talk around this. I can see him
he's had
already.
he's
Already,
had
it's like, how
amazing
can I avoid this question?
success. So, like, when he makes calls in the portal, everybody's going to take his call. Last year, I was like Joe Bag of Donuts, and they were like, who is this dude? And we had to have about 600 people on campus, and people take your calls a little bit better because they think you a little bit know what you're doing a little bit. As you know, Goody, I got a great staff that works their butt off.
Yeah, they do.
We got administration and boosters and fan base that.
Your AD is a stud.
Well,
Your AD
Josh
is
Hurd's a
stud.
phenomenal leader, great human being. He gets it in this new world moving forward. He's as aggressive and progressive as there is. And
So
both
get
of
back,
us
to the question. I know you're trying to avoid the money part of it, but what has it been like? How crazy is
It's
it
crazy.
right now?
It's
Why?
Pretty, it's pretty crazy.
Describe what it's like.
I just think, with the rev share and things like that, there's going to be probably some more normalcy moving forward. It's still a little bit of the Wild Wild West, and which I think I give the leadership of our sport a lot of credit for how they've been very forward-thinking and aggressive in trying to get their arms around this thing and reel it in, and I think it'll be good for the sport moving forward.
You just took over the job.
Yeah.
You seem pretty calm right now. How many players do you have in your roster right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point. But we're working on it. I mean, I have
Could be anywhere from
I'm dinging constantly here, so we're doing the best that we can. But no, I mean, we have a great cell, much like Louisville. We have a great cell at the University of Virginia. So we're not going to be left behind. We're going to sign the right guys.
I heard the resources have now gone up significantly at Virginia. And again, with a new coach,
that usually happens.
That's the case in a lot of places, right? When you get the job, that's generally when you can get things done, or when you're like Kels and you win a ton of games. And, listen, they step up.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And, we're all competitive. We all want to win. And in order to win in this climate right now, it takes, there's resources are a factor, in this. And certainly, in the ACC, we want the ACC to get back to, where it was in a dominant way. And we're going to do the best that we can. We're going to try to do our part at UVA, to help. Obviously, Coach did an awesome job. He and his players and staff did an awesome job last year. Of competing nationally, and you got off to a great start. I remember watching games in the Bahamas. Like, you guys played really well early, in the season, and that propelled you on. And you lost some players too, didn't you? Yeah, you lost a couple of guys. And but for us, it's about right now just trying to put the best roster together that we can, put the pieces together.
The thing I'd say too about Ryan, and I've always appreciated this about him. You say, well, he looks calm right now. Yeah. Like, that dude always looks like he's got it all together. Always.
I know.
I don't know about that.
There should be a poll.
Kels looks out of his mind half the time.
There should be a poll, like, what college coach in America could flip the switch and become a United States Senator tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, no question.
He's got great hair. Now it's getting
The hair
grayer,
helps.
so he looks like more distinguished and stuff like that. I'm just all over the place. So.
That's what Tony Bennett said. He and Laurel were watching our BYU game. And he looked over at Laura. He said, "Now, who do you think has more gray hair, me or him?" And she went, "Definitely you." and then he said, "Well, you just wait."
No doubt.
Hey, Coach, last year I actually did the Louisville game at Virginia, and it seemed like the fan base was kind of ready for a little more offense, for a little bit more excitement. And you talked about how you were going to run. When I watched you guys at VCU, you didn't quite run like these guys, but you scored the basketball.
Yeah.
Where's the balance? Because you're coming up a level. Where's the balance there as far as playing fast?
I think every team's a little bit different. You have to play to your strengths, right? The roster that you have. And,
Absolutely.
And certainly that's going to determine, how we play. But, in my heart of hearts, I love to play faster, and certainly we're going to try to do that. But not at the sacrifice of defense, the defensive end of the basketball. And, at VCU, we were a little bit different than at Utah State. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this.
Sure.
And certainly, for us, maybe a middle ground, there at Virginia compared to the last two stops for me. But, you're not going to win at the highest level unless you defend.
Absolutely.
And you have to put it in the basket, too. And so we're going to try to do both.
Kels, what was this past year like for you? Because, for you, Louisville was like a dream. I mean, you lived, grew up not too far. It's one of the best programs in the country. I've always said, it's when you're talking about the elite programs, it's in that group.
Absolutely.
And it just hadn't been for a little while. How surreal was it to go through last year and flip this thing as quickly as you did and could?
Yeah. I pinch myself still sometimes, and I'm not going to speak for Ryan, but I bet he could say the same thing. I mean, here we are sitting here as guys that just
you grinded it out
came
to
up,
get
grinded
there.
it out.
Yeah.
I was the head coach at Virginia, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I'm the head coach at Louisville. This is crazy, and we were just. At least I was bottom of the barrel assistants on the staff I was on. He was probably a little higher than that, but it is. It's you do pinch yourself. I was coming to Disney World. I ran here as fast as I stinking could. And Ryan knows what it's like in that first transition year because you're moving families and changing schools and all that stuff. So my life is a little bit more in order last year. As he'll handle it and he won't sweat and his hair won't go out of place. I was an absolute train wreck for a while, but it's great to at least have that part in order right now as we move forward into year number 2. But it was awesome. The city embraced our family. Obviously, we had success, and just to see this pride that this program and the citizens of Louisville have in the University of Louisville basketball come back this year. The revival, as we called it, was pretty cool.
Do they still have the cardinal come out of the ceiling, out of the roof, or no?
Hold on, they used to do that?
Oh, yeah, you need to bring
going
that
back
back.
to it.
The marketing people are out there were bringing the cardinal out of the room.
I was a young assistant coach. It was my first year in coaching in South Florida with Seth, and we were in the same league. And so we go in there, and it was a big difference. Like South Florida walking in to play against Denny Crum, and all of a sudden they were playing Mission Impossible, and I looked up, and he was shimmying out of the roof and then flying. It was the craziest thing.
Kels might be the
You
one
gotta
to
bring
do
it
that.
back.
They asked me to
Just
do it.
don't do it when we come.
They asked me to do it at Louisville Live. Like, would you come out of the ceiling?
Yeah.
And you know me, Goody, I'm crazy.
You'll
Like,
do
I'll
almost
do
anything.
almost anything,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid of
That's a
heights.
little tough.
So I passed on
That was a no-go. That was a no-go. You wouldn't do it?
Let me ask you, I'm curious because last year you brought some guys with you. Kobe comes with you. Rain comes with you. Now you have some retention, right? Yeah, James also, excuse me. Now you have a lot of guys coming back. Ali's going to be in the mix for next year. Has that kind of helped the offseason process a little bit, having those guys back? Or you're still trying to work some new guys in a little bit later, obviously, but they set a precedent and a standard?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's easier because on this date last year we had 0 players
Exactly,
on our
right,
roster,
right,
so
right.
at least we have a group of guys in place. Makes it a little bit of a not relaxed April, but a little bit more of a manageable April.
Sure.
But it's always good when you have guys that, that know you, know your terminology, can finish your sentences, and it just helps as you bring the news guys in to kind of get ahead of the curve a little bit.
Yep.
All right, listen, appreciate it. 2 ACC guys together, dream jobs. Ryan Odom, Virginia, Pat Kelsey,
Absolutely.
Louisville. Cool to have you guys here.
Rhino.
Appreciate you guys
Thanks,
coming.
sir. Thanks for having us. Yeah, appreciate you, brother. Thank
All right,
you.
there you have it. We'll be
Thank you.
back
Appreciate
after Jay Williams, Doug Gottlieb, both joining us here at Field of 68. People have opinions about me, strong ones. Some compare my brand to the competition and call me a copycat. Some say that I'm just watered down, that I fall flat. I've heard it all. But the people who get me, they say I'm different, subtle, but balanced. Nothing to hide, nothing artificial. And once they give me a chance, they keep coming back for more. For more dad water. That's right, I'm talking about dad water, and I swear by it. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail made with real tequila. 100 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Find Dad Water's 4 flavors in an 8-pack variety pack or single flavor 6-packs. Dad Water invites you to enjoy its great lineup of products all tournament long. Take it from me, Jeff Goodman. Sometimes the most polarizing things are the best things. Dad Water, tequila, water, natural flavors.
Owning property in the state of Texas is difficult enough. Paying taxes on your property should not make your life any more complicated. Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying property taxes, you should only pay what's fair. In under 3 minutes, you can sign up and have their team of Texas experts start saving you money without a single upfront cost. It's easy. When you sign up, you get an instant estimate of the tax savings they can get you so that when that property tax bill comes due, the amount that you have to fork over to Uncle Sam isn't quite as painful. Put property tax money back in your pocket in just minutes. 86% of customers receive a reduction with an average savings of more than $1,100. Imagine how much less stress you'll have in your life knowing that you could take some of the money that you have earmarked for the IRS and spend it on, I don't know, an 85-inch flat screen to watch March Madness. The deadline to protest is May 15th for most Texas counties. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/CBB. That's OWNWELL.com/CBB.
People have opinions about me, strong ones. Some compare my brand to the competition and call me a copycat. Some say that I'm just watered down, that I fall flat. I've heard it all. But the people who get me, they say I'm different, subtle, but balanced. Nothing to hide, nothing artificial. And once they give me a chance, they keep coming back for more. For more dad water. That's right, I'm talking about dad water, and I swear by it. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail made with real tequila. 100 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Find Dad Water's 4 flavors in an 8-pack variety pack or single flavor 6-packs. Dad Water invites you to enjoy its great lineup of products all tournament long. Take it from me, Jeff Goodman. Sometimes the most polarizing things are the best things. Dad Water, tequila, water, natural flavors.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 live from Smoke Sky Bar on East Houston Street. Come and join us in San Antonio. We're still with you for over an hour. We're back with you tomorrow, 4 to 7 local time. We'll be with you on Sunday as well from 4 to 7 local time. He's Mike LaTulip, and now we are joined by the two-time ACC Defensive Player of the Year, John Henson.
Was he ever National Player of the Year, John?
No.
You had to get that in, Robert. Running right next to him.
Who won this it? guy Anthony Davis didn't
Oh,
exist.
pretty good.
You know,
Man.
pretty good. He's
Pretty
pretty
good.
good, right?
Pretty good.
Well,
player.
I guess that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an approach. Like, knowing what you knew about AD and now watching Cooper Flagg play, where do you categorize Cooper Flagg among freshmen in college basketball that you've watched?
Right up there at the top. He's I've been saying it all week. He's the coldest white boy I've ever seen. Straight up.
That's high praise.
I
Yeah,
thought
100%.
that was me.
I'm just, and then people are like, oh, you know, you got these names like, you know, Adam Morris.
J.J.
Cooper
Redick.
Flagg's going to be signing his max deal
Yeah.
the year they graduated and left school. Like, think about that.
Should be in high school.
100%. So
Tyler Hansbrough.
I stand on that.
What impresses you the most about him? Like, besides the defense?
How he
and the-
elevates his team.
Yeah.
I think that's what takes him to the next stuff. He makes his team better. And it's going to be kind of interesting because if a team like the Hawks or someone who has pieces sneaks into that first pick, Spurs, even the Jazz, he's going to.
You know where he's going, Henson. That's not. You know where he's going.
Charlotte?
Let me ask you.
Charlotte?
Let me ask you a question. No, this is what's
No,
going to happen.
he
Listen,
thinks he's
this is what's going to happen.
Rob's got the NBA draft scripted out.
Yeah. This is the. I've seen the script. Adam Silver. Adam Silver was at the East Regional. I saw him. I talked to him. He gave me the script.
Good guy, too.
Is Wemby playing right now?
No.
No.
Oh, what about De'Aaron Fox? Is he playing right now?
I was going to say the Spurs have a good chance.
Is Pop coaching?
No.
Whenever there's an elite generational prospect and the Spurs are down, what happens? They get David Robinson, they get Tim Duncan, they get Wemby.
I just think we're too close to the last one.
There's a 100% chance that he's going to the
There is
Spurs.
legs to that.
100%.
There's a 100% chance he's going to the Spurs.
The NBA
San Antonio. He might as well just stay. Like, why would he leave? He's here right now. Just go buy your house now, Coop.
The NBA
You
is
can afford
entertainment.
it.
We got to remember that.
Yeah.
The NBA is entertainment. So
LeBron basically admitted that.
there are some
last
things
week.
that are being pulled behind the scenes, but I do think the lottery, I don't know. Maybe they did add an extra ball for
Few
them.
extra balls. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Few extra
The
balls.
frozen envelope.
Yeah. Few extra balls, and if it happens, it happens.
So let's then dive into who Duke will face on Saturday night. John Scheyer told the press today, I love my scout team. They can't replicate what Houston does. Nobody can replicate what Houston does. But if you were Houston and Kelvin Sampson and you were starting to devise a game plan for, okay, how are we going to handle the monster that is Cooper Flagg, what would be the first point of attack?
Well, I think a lot of it. I hate the just saying, well, hey, let's try to get him in foul trouble, or let's go after him on the offensive end. I think defensively, a lot of it's going to come down to how this game is officiated. I hate to say that, but watching that Elite Eight game with Tennessee, all their off-ball cuts, they could hold, they could grab. All these Lanier couldn't get separation. I mean, that's a
when you allow that to happen.
When you allow that to happen, for sure. And I just think I don't know. I think this Duke team is they're too talented and too skilled in a lot of areas to let just that affect them. But physicality has affected them this year. I mean, I think the Clemson game, when you look at that, I mean, even really early on this season in that Kansas game with older players, older experienced players. So that's what I'm looking for in this game. Because the one thing with Houston is I saw people talking online, well, they're not very tall. Height doesn't matter when you have 7'6" wingspans and 7'5" wingspans with Tugler and Juwan Roberts. I mean, that's the length you need to be able to stay. I mean, I have short arms here. Henson's got long.
7'4",
Henson's
so
got long arms.
could be a bunch of
and
me's out there.
Just quickly, like why that's important is when you have longer arms, and I can be there on the contest, and I'm also creating enough space in between me to level off angles on drive. So like that's why Roberts and Tugler, even if they get switched out on the perimeter, even if they have to emergency switch, they can hold up. So I just think they're going to take Duke out of their first action a lot, I think. It's how they play out of their second actions, I think, is going to determine the game.
I agree. I think perimeter-wise, size-wise, it's definitely a bad matchup, but they have the size to combat that down low.
Yep.
But, in preparing for a team like Houston, when we play a team like Houston in Carolina, our scout team obviously –
Who was like them?
Football pads.
We would just put 6 guys out there.
You would?
We put 6 guys out there. So
Who was like them in the ACC back then?
Who was? I mean, we played the Kentuckys. We played.
Like Florida State was
Florida
long.
State was like that. Miami was good.
Miami,
when
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
in there, Wake Forest.
Yep.
Those guys. So, you know, when we play teams like that.
But Roy would put 6.
Put 6 out there and say, look, figure it out. And that got you to just move the ball.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's always someone there, right? And that got you to just move around. So I don't know if Duke is using that strategy, but all I can say is for them to be the second-rated, KenPom team ever, to have to play Houston. I mean, whoever wins this is going to be memorable because this is arguably the best. Well, this is the best field ever. So
No, it's the best Final Four field ever. I'm less concerned about the impact that Houston is going to have blowing up the stuff that Duke wants to run than I am how Houston is going to hide LJ Cryer.
Yeah.
Like that's – I think was I on with you?
yeah, and I you know, we talked about the defense. Houston likes to trap and speed you up. Duke can look over that, and you got to believe Scheyer's going to put Cooper in the playmaking capacity.
Middle third.
Middle guy.
Yeah.
Okay, if Houston wants to trap and get out, drop it to Cooper Flagg and let the chips fall where they may. And that could be a problem.
I mean, the Knippel Cooper Flagg 2-man game. We saw it in the Kansas game. Like, if they try that in the middle third, those short little push-off screen, short rolls, and then you have Cooper as a playmaker playing 4-on-3 out of it. Like, that's
exactly what Purdue did, right?
Yeah.
For the first about 5-6 minutes of the game, they trapped. Houston sent 2 to the ball every single ball screen, and what they started to do was instead of having Trey Kaufman set a screen and roll, it was almost like he was slipping. He set the screen to go right away. They get that little short roll, and then you're playing 3-on-2, 2-on-1, 4, whatever it is. You got 2 guys out of the play, and you got Trey Kaufman ready to make a decision. You do that with Cooper Flagg, and you're in trouble.
And you got multiple options. If you short roll in the middle third, you got both options in both corners as opposed to loading up on one side.
This thing was tied. The Purdue game was tied. Like,
yes,
it was tied.
Yes.
Right. But at some point, but here's the other thing. Can Houston effectively score against Duke? That was the biggest question that you come out of the Alabama game with, because Duke shut Alabama, who came in to the game averaging 91.4 points per contest, down to the tune of a 5-minute scoreless drought. When there's 8 minutes on the clock, it's a 7-point game. Just when Alabama appeared to have seized the momentum in that game, Duke said absolutely not. John, that's my question here, is if you're Houston, we know that this is, and Kelvin said today, this is my best shot-making team. And when we asked him why, he said Milo Shuzan. You better have that identity. You need 2 of Sharp, Cryer, or Uzan to be knocking some shots down Saturday night.
And that's what scares you, and that's why the Houston team hasn't reached the pinnacle in the last few years, because they haven't been able to score at a level when you come mano a mano, Duke is going to score.
That's right. That's my thing. Exactly.
And so is Houston going to be able to score? Now, they shoot almost 40% from the 3. Yeah. But, boy, to depend on the 3 ball against Duke is a scary proposition, i.e. Alabama, you lose by 20.
See, the bold take I have, Rob, is if I'm Houston, knowing the shot makers that I possess, if at the end of the day this comes down to a perimeter shooting game, I'm okay if I'm Houston.
I'm not. I'm not, and the reason why I'm not is because it's the length of Duke, man. Like, for everything that Mike just said about the length that Houston has, Duke goes 6'5", 6'6", 6'6", 6'9", Cooper Flagg 7'2", Kamamalo on their front line, and LJ Cryer, like that dude, he can get to that step back on his left hand anytime he wants, and that step back going to your left is a lot more difficult to hit when you got 6'6" Knippel trying to contest
Malawach switching on you,
trying to contest it, right? Yeah. Emmanuel Sharp, if the way that you have to beat Duke is Emmanuel Sharp kind of hitting these like contested late clock 24-footers, he can make them. He's not going to make them as many of them when you have Sion James closing out. And you know what I mean? Like, so that's the thing that I'm worried about. And I think the matchup that Houston can really take advantage of is going to sound crazy, but it's Cooper Flagg. Yeah. Because Cooper Flagg is probably going to end up having to guard Juwan Roberts. And what we saw specifically against Kansas, but we've seen it quite a bit from Juwan, is you get him in those ball screens with Milo's Uzan, and you come off and he gets those little rolls where he's about 12 feet away from the basket. He takes that one dribble going left, he puts his shoulder into Cooper, and he goes up with it. I don't know if the floater, jump hook, it's something.
He's got an array of moves.
That little bank shot to his left hand, and he's strong, man. Like, Cooper's going to have to deal with that.
But I'm flipping it when I make the argument.
Cooper's 18. Like, that's tough.
But I'm flipping it when I make the argument. So I'm betting on Houston's defense to do enough there that if Duke force Duke into contested perimeter looks, In all these games, the moment that Flagg starts to get downhill, it's over. Once he takes a first step, you're not going to be able to stop him. You're going to foul him, he's going to finish, or he's going to pass it to an open shooter. You cannot give up dribble penetration in this game.
And going back, if they make this a 2-point game, Duke's going to win.
That's why my argument's my argument.
Duke's going to win. If this is a 2-point game.
So do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, if this is a 2-point game, Duke's going to win. Houston's going to have to hit some threes. So Duke only shot 13 threes against Alabama because they said, all right, we're going to make this a 2-point game. Yeah.
So are you coming around?
Listen,
because Rob disagrees, which is a good thing. I like the debate. You just
they're
don't think
they're definitely going to have to make outside
plus
shots.
200. Yeah, no, they are.
Well, how does Houston win the game? What's your argument?
LJ Cryer's got to make those tough shots. Yeah. Emmanuel Sharp's got to make those tough shots, and you got to take advantage of Juwan Roberts, that matchup that he's got at the 4. And I think the most important, if they can impose their physicality defensively, like you talked about it, I'm not sold that they can. I think Duke's too good. But if they can blow up those sets, if they're switching, if they don't get LJ Cryer take it, maybe it's recency bias. But the last 13, 14, 15 minutes against Alabama, the way that they hunted Mark Sears, this is what you do in the NBA, right? You can speak to this. You find a matchup where you say that's food right there, and you go to it every time. In the NBA, it's simpler because you just set a ball screen and they switch it, and you just find whoever you want, right? And you pick on them. And that's what Duke was able to do. But whoever Mark Sears was guarding, they put him in a ball screen. They got him running off of the curls. Or they got when he's on Knipple, they get Knipple going to the basket and they throw that lob because he can't get over the screen. They did that over and over to Sears. Cryer's better than Sears?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We saw this in Tennessee where they bullied them and they beat them.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And not only did they bully them, they did it from the tip.
Yeah. So
opening minutes are huge.
There's a team that has a makeup to beat this Duke team. It is Houston. Duke's just really good. So
are you saying that Auburn or Florida don't have the makeup to beat Duke?
Stylistically, no.
I talked about it earlier. There's going to be so much volatility in this game right here that when you give Duke an opportunity, like I said it before the Alabama game, it's all about the runs when it's high pace like that. And Duke is the best at shutting off your water and also taking advantage on the offensive end. But real quick, the Juwan Roberts-Cooper Flagg matchup, Juwan Roberts offensively, if he gets his shit packed at the rim, he doesn't care. He does the second effort.
You're right.
The second effort is where Duke's going to have to lock in. So when you miss that shot around the rim, that is where I think fouls could actually happen for Duke on second chance opportunities, not the first one.
Both of these teams have an elite, what I would call second wind, where they hit into a different gear when it goes to crunch time in a game. Yep. Houston's that example. It was against Tennessee. Remember, Tennessee gets within 10.
Yep.
They start to have some momentum. Emmanuel Sharp buries back-to-back threes. And right there, Mike, you're saying this is the difference with this Houston team. Yes. They have those types of guys.
They do, and those shots in particular, Emmanuel Sharp, he hit 3 back-breaking threes. He had 4 in the second half, but 3 of them were just when Tennessee thought they had momentum. Because it's a low-possession game, those threes feel like they're 6-pointers.
And you got to account in every way. As much as you're accounting for Flagg defensively, you've got to account for how you're going to contain Con Knipple.
Oh,
because
that's the matchup, because he could go after Cryer.
To me, that's where Duke could expose Houston's defense because of the way Con is. One, he's cashing in when double coverage comes at Cooper or anybody. 2, he's become a really good passer.
And we talked to Andre Dawkins, and he said a good point. He said, our plan B and C is a lot better than most teams.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another kind of factor of the game, right?
Yeah.
Andre Dawkins, an original member of the Field of 68, he had a Duke podcast for us.
Okay.
Original Duke podcast
really
was Andre Dawkins.
Okay.
So I'm getting booed.
We're going to do it right now here, folks. Oh, yeah. We are going to welcome on the 2001 national champion,
legend.
the
Hello,
2002 national player of the year, the All-American. His jersey is in the rafters.
He's in my Duke top 5. I said it last week.
He's
in my Duke top 5.
I spent more time over at Chapel Hill than I did at Duke. Come on, John. Come on, John. The library, John. John, the librray. The library was popping.
Come on now. I know you want to bring it up.
No, we can bring it up. It's worth bringing up.
Hanging out a little bit.
Yeah.
What's the state of the Duke-Carolina rivalry?
Oh,
it's bad. It's bad right now. Come on, man.
I just want to sit back and enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
John, what's the state of the Duke-North Carolina rivalry?
Everything has its ebbs and flows. What comes up must come down.
What happened in New Orleans a couple years ago?
Exactly.
We don't have to go that far back,
Yeah,
okay? We don't have to do that.
Exactly.
By the way, the fact that every time I'm in Carolina, they played a meme of me trying to call a timeout when I'm like, come on, Coach K, let's call a timeout.
Yes.
Come on, it's your last game. Can we please call a timeout? That broke me, though. But I would say we've been kicking their ass for a minute. Last couple of years.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they've gone through routes where they kicked our ass. So, like, my thing is that I never feel like it's out of whack. I mean, maybe for, like, national media who's not there. But, like, a year there, like, I still get hyped for the game.
Do you think Hubert will respond?
I don't think he has a choice.
He's got to.
He has to, right?
Well, what do you mean he has to? Can he, though? It's not like he has to. I mean, is he going to go in the portal and get the right guys to respond?
I feel like I shouldn't go first on this question. This is your home territory. I feel like you should take the lead.
Yeah. Obviously, I know what's going on internally. I know some guys are looking at this and the third. Yeah, he's got to have a good year this year. Everybody knows that. They're working. They're trying to get guys. I've said hi to Jim Tanner, who was my agent. So.
Oh, he was? Oh, I didn't know that.
Tanner's my agent. Yes.
Okay. So I got something.
Do you guys have budget to get guys?
Yeah, we got a budget for sure.
Here's
Well, like,
my take on Jim Tanner.
Well, we got to pay the right guys.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying.
Candidly, we paid Kate Tyson a lot of money and he did not play.
Well, also,
you guys missed on Amori, though. If you guys got Amori, it would have been different from Alabama.
And what we paid him,
Alabama paid.
We could have got a guy that could really help us.
Amori might have fit Carolina better than the end result at Alabama.
That's what I
I know Chapel Hill's better than Tuscaloosa.
See, you know that. You know this. Then we'll get to Tanner. You
Alabama
could pay and get a talented player, and the player could be talented. That doesn't mean that it fits in the puzzle to a team.
Just ask Bill Self.
Yeah,
that's right.
I mean,
That's
just
right.
ask AJ
Yes.
Store. Ask
Ask Jerome Tang.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm up there watching practice. I'm like, man, how is AJ Store barely coming off the bench? And then when he's on the bench and watches practice, he can't defend. But he wasn't asked to do that at Wisconsin. Yeah. But now the continuity of the system is so different that Bill runs, and it's great offense, but he can't be a catch-and-shoot, play off that dribble penetration.
I brought up a point how NBA teams call your middle school coach, your uncle, your cousin, and how they delve into who they're paying. I think colleges have to start doing that, right?
But they don't have the time.
I get it. Well, if you don't have the time, then you're going to –
A lot of it is so fast. It moves so quick. If you might have a couple guys, right? You might have a couple guys at the top of your list. If they go and somebody else overpays or they just don't get them, they don't know. Playing CD, they don't know what to do.
What were your thoughts on Jim Tanner?
Well, okay, Jim Tanner. Here's my question.
I like when they go into the slow box.
How is Jim Tanner going to help?
Grab the popcorn.
How is Jim Tanner hasn't dealt with any of these agents. He doesn't know these young guys. That's who you have to know. He doesn't know the college scene. He doesn't know any players. How the hell is Jim Tanner going to help?
Jim Tanner's not there for the college scene.
What's he going to help with?
Jim Tanner is there to separate coach and recruit and negotiation and numbers. He's there.
How does he know, though? How is he going to know what the real numbers are?
Who knows what the real numbers are?
You got to find somebody. I think you got to find
This
somebody
started 3 years ago,
that's been working in the angles. I think you got to find those guys, not Jim Tanner, the NBA agent. You got to find the dudes that know what's really going on.
I think he's connected enough because you got to understand, as an agent, you have to talk to college people. You have to be around that. And
there are some more than others.
Can I answer this for you?
Yeah.
Whatever he needs to do, it needs to happen at warp speed because you got a year.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Let's be honest.
You have 3 weeks.
I love it.
You have 3 weeks to put it together.
Not even 3 weeks. I mean, from the time here's what I would ask Jim Tanner. When I'm hiring you, how much due diligence have you already been doing in this whole scenario? Because this didn't start when the portal opened on March. This started at the beginning of the season.
November 4th.
Yeah, I just think it's the wrong guy to bring in. I think Jim Tanner supposedly,
I can't
don't
say
know
that
him,
yet, though, Jeff.
super good dude.
We don't know, though.
Super good dude.
For
You
me,
don't know that yet,
but for me, like internally, I can't. I'm not going to name who sources, but Jim is there for the business side. I get what you're saying. You got to know people.
So who's there for the other side?
That's what your staff is for.
That's what your coach is for.
That's what your staff is for, and your recruiting.
But they haven't gotten it done.
I understand that, and that's why they had to change the perception, and they had to change who they brought in. But I don't think Jim is there to go into a kid's house to convince them to come to Carolina.
Yo, can Marcus Page convince people to come to Carolina? Because I feel like whenever I see Marcus Page, he's the one record. I love Sean May. I love Jeff. I love the staff. But like MP was like the biggest face there that I've seen. Sorry,
I think you need to bring in
An MFer. An MFer.
I think you need to bring in guys that kids can relate to. Marcus Page a little bit. But you also need to bring in guys that have played and that have been successful at the next level. And that's something that I think Carolina lacks in the sense of there's not people on the staff and guys walking through those halls, and I don't know how other schools are, but at Carolina, it's a family environment. The summer, all the guys come back. And so we don't really have that anymore, and that's affecting us.
It's important. Hey, speaking of that, you want to talk about
Keep
the brotherhood. You want to talk
What
about
a
the family.
transition. This guy's good.
You want to talk about what's happening in Durham.
When did the brotherhood start? I'm curious because
after Jay.
Yeah, I missed those
Well, I just remember. I remember it was Carolina family. Well, it was Carolina family, then Duke, and then all of a sudden brotherhood. I don't know.
And reparations.
Judge Judy is alive.
I feel like that was like Nolan Smith.
I think it was Nolan. I think
right?
Nolan started that with
I
Kay.
think so.
Which look, it's the brotherhood's a real thing. Like it was a real thing before it got coined that way. I mean, I can email Adam Silver and get a note back from Adam. It's like, come on. Like I sat next to David Rubenstein, who's the founder of Carlisle. Yo, so what do you want me to tell you? Like, it's like I'm going to the game with Ken Jeong. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna sit together. It's like, what?
I like it.
It's just like,
what do you got?
I mean, that's I didn't even do that.
I didn't even do that, Jeff. I didn't do that to you,
Here's
John.
the thing.
It's not me.
That's Duke right there, man. You know.
Well,
what
wait a
I'm
minute.
saying?
Let me
They
ask
gonna put
this.
it in your face.
So when
When
John
put it in your face.
when
I'm
John
gonna call MJ right
Scheyer-
now. I'm gonna call MJ and tell him to send
Call
I'm
MJ.
gonna call MJ and tell him to send a jet.
Oh, here we go. Oh, go.
See, there you go. That's what I need to hear.
Let's get Michael Jordan on the phone right now.
I'm about to hit.
Hey, the
listen,
sky is the roof.
Are
Come
we
on,
doing
baby.
this?
I'm about to hit the WhatsApp with all the players in it and say, listen,
John
man,
Henson.
where y'all
We have
at?
a brotherhood
Where y'all
challenge.
at?
He's gone.
We need you
Where
right
am I at
now.
right now?
Okay, so I want to ask this, and then I'll get to you on this. When John Scheyer gets this job at 34, what was your thought process at the time?
I know what his thoughts were. No, you got to tell us the truth here.
Versus
I wanna
what
hear
is
the
it
truth.
now?
I always tell you the truth.
I know that.
I was very unsure.
Yeah, me
I
too.
was very unsure. I loved John. I always used to call John a young Brad Stevens whenever I would see him
that's a good
at
call.
practice because just the way he saw the game, the way he communicated to players. But those are really big shoes to fill for somebody that never had head coaching experience, right? So I'm looking at people like Tommy Amaker, Johnny Dawkins, and Johnny's road has
Chris
been different.
Collins?
Yeah. Chris Collins, but they're more like
Well, none of those
Tommy
guys were
Amaker.
killing it because none
like
of
when
them were killing
Woj
it.
was
at that
out,
point, right?
CC is still Northwestern. CC's my guy.
Would
I
you have
love
been
CC.
okay going outside the family, knowing?
Depends on who we went outside the family with.
Brad Stevens would have been like the only one,
Fair.
right?
I think there could have been a couple of others.
Yeah.
Like crazy to say, like I love Shaka.
Yeah, they never would have done that.
But they wouldn't have done that.
Right.
But like once again, like I'm on the road, I'm talking to guys all the time. So I think there was a lot of confusion to like, yo, what's going on? And K is Teflon. Like Coach K is Teflon, man. So like K was like, yo, this is what it is. People didn't like it. Some people were okay with it, but he was okay with it.
Yeah.
I personally felt like he had that right.
Of course he did.
I felt like he had that right.
Of course he did.
And I can't knock it. He knew something that I didn't. He spent more time with John. Look where we are.
So now that you've spent time with him, what do you see in what this guy has built and the fact that he's in the Final Four at 37? I know it's the standard at Duke. I know it's the expectation, but it's another thing to be in this role. He's 89-21, Jay. How's he done it?
Yo, I'll tell you one thing. Jay, I don't know what's important to you, John, but at some point, you got to fucking be able to sit down and talk to me like a normal person. You got to really relate to me. Right? Like, I don't care about the D. I don't care about the North Carolina. Like, you got to talk to me about what I need to accomplish for me, and you got to find a way to twist that little narrative and get me to buy into something different than me. And John has that unique ability. He has it. He has that, like, once again, I curse. He has that shit to him, man. It's different. Like, listening to Pat Beverly be like, yo, there were dudes in Chicago that came to see John Scheyer play. That tells you how John Scheyer resonates with the culture. You may not see that for face value, but when you sit in a room with him, and all these lights go away because he knows how to play that game. He's like, oh, shit, I fucking just kicked it with John Scheyer.
Yeah, he can really adapt. Like,
Yes.
that's the one thing with Scheyer. You could put him in any
Code switching.
any
We all know how to code
situation.
switch. He knows how to do it.
Gotta know how to code switch.
Yep. Have to, John. Should I not be cursing? Because I feel like every time I
We're
curse, you
on
give me this
digital.
really weird look.
You're
and
good.
I
You're good.
I get nervous.
Not at all.
Okay.
No.
God, I love
Come
you.
on.
You're the best.
I love you back. It's great to
fucking best.
it's great to meet you.
Finally.
Isn't
It's-
this better?
Jeff
It's,
Goodman.
hey,
Yeah.
isn't this way better
Do
than
not.
game day?
No.
Do
This is
not.
better than game day?
Do not.
Don't. Why would
Why
you
do
put
you
me
have
in
to
that
put him in that position?
Why do you do that to
Why
me?
do you have to put him in that
Mickey
position?
Mouse has claws, man. Be careful.
Oh
now.
boy.
Be careful
Does
on
he
Mickey
ever?
here.
Does he ever?
Be careful now.
Oh boy. All right. Well, but you know what though?
Their mandibles they come out too.
I asked him this. All right, I'm going to ask you this first while you sit back and have the popcorn again. Okay. And you can curse.
You know
We're
I
on
love
YouTube.
popcorn moments.
Do you know who's on the set here? Come on.
I've seen it.
Come
I've
on.
seen the late night versions of him.
Cooper
no Diddy.
Flagg.
You know what I mean.
You've been covering. Oh, jeez. You've been covering this. You've been covering this for a long time. Where does Cooper sit for you?
Where? Sit where?
In terms of the hierarchy of players that you've covered.
I mean, he's up there overall, especially, like, forget whether he wins it all or not right now. Let's just talk about him as a player.
Don't
as a
purse your
ball
lips like
player.
that, John.
No, I think he's the coldest white boy I've seen under 19 years old in my life.
Here's why.
Think about it.
Here's why.
Who?
I've seen white chocolate though. I can't.
Yeah, but that's
I
different.
feel
But they're
you.
different.
Fair. Go ahead. All right. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
But,
Go
but
ahead, Jeff.
here's the difference.
You got to go that far back though. That should tell you something.
White chocolate. Those guys
lies, though.
weren't making $3 million at 18 years old.
Yeah.
This dude. No matter what, whether he shoots it well or not, he's going to impact the game in every phase
Fair.
of the game. He's
Can I
going
ask
to
you-
play hard every single possession.
Can I play host for a second and take your role?
Of course
Can I
you
ask
can.
you a follow-up question
Yeah.
here, Jeff? Will he be the number one guy on an NBA team?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. Like, I'm
That-
not going to
that's
say
a
yes
fa-
or
okay.
no. I would have said no before the year.
So all I'm saying is, like, I think it's safe to factor that in when we're talking about his greatness at the collegiate level. Because I feel like what social media does, they run away with things.
No, I think he may
and
be
it
a
turns
better
into,
number
like,
two.
Do you-
I think he may be a better number two.
Do you feel like do you feel like his ceiling? He's reaching his ceiling.
So he's second youngest player in college basketball.
Yeah, do you feel like his
18.
ceiling is-
I will ask this question. You watch him play a lot. What is he prolific at?
I think that's the good question. But I think he's
He's great at a lot of
I
things,
think
and
he
that's his
makes-
value. By the way, there's nobody condescending or diminishing Cooper Flagg because he will be a max guy.
That's.
I'm just
No
asking
doubt.
if he will be a Giannis.
I say
Will he be a
makes people-
Steph?
I say he
will
makes
he
people.
Can he be a Tatum?
He makes people better. He's
Can
not,
he
I don't
be-
think.
can he
yo,
be-
Tatum's so real.
I love him.
I do not. Tatum's skill set
It's
is
insane.
drastically better than where Cooper's skill set is right now.
Yeah.
Is there a more
Cooper's a better
underappreciated?
passer. No, Cooper's a
Cooper's
better
a better
passer and a better
all-around
defender.
player,
And a
all-around
better
player.
defender
Sure.
now.
Tatum still gets underappreciated.
Tatum's obviously
He
can go
gets
get a bucket.
underappreciated, man.
Tatum go get a bucket whenever he wants.
Tatum got
That guy's a
and he could.
champion.
Yo,
Tatum
man.
got that shit to him now. That's the thing.
I'm just telling you. I know where everything came off this summer with USA basketball. Watch JT defend, yo. Watch him defend.
I'm not going to argue with that. All I'm saying is, like, Cooper Flagg, what he's done this year in
I agree.
college.
I agree.
As a 17, 18
He
year old.
should be a senior in high school.
It's amazing.
I agree.
With $3 million.
It's unbelievable.
With all the shit that now I actually don't think we've given him the same level of attention that Zion got, that some of these other guys got. I don't know why.
Well, I know why.
Why?
Zion was doing 360s.
But not
in-
just Zion. Not just Zion. I'm saying every year
Paolo?
when I was there at ESPN, there'd be somebody. Ben Simmons. When I was there, Ben friggin' Simmons.
People were
The
comparing Ben Simmons
preseasons.
to Braun.
That's insane.
That's what I'm
Which
saying.
was
And at the
insane.
By the way, there was
saying-
a Colin
I'm saying-
Cowher, like literally, it's viral. Was like, I don't need you, LeBron.
LeBron,
Move over.
right.
I got Ben Simmons. Like,
But don't you feel like Cooper hasn't gotten that same level that he probably should for what he's done this
I have a
year?
theory why.
Go ahead.
Because unfortunately for us, it's a what have you done for me lately, and people jump in November, and then they go away for a while. The casual does, not us, but the Kentucky and Kansas endings. The Kentucky and Kansas endings. So then people develop a theory. Okay, he's not going to lead. He was getting eviscerated after those games, which he shouldn't, but that's how kids get treated these days.
I agree.
Those early shortcomings, and then let's face it, why else doesn't he get the hype machine? The ACC had an all-time bad year. So his games were not as
say
dead.
I got another one. I
He's
got
on
a
a
third
really
one
good
to you.
team.
That's
What's
the
number
biggest
3?
one.
Number 3 is I think people naturally, and it happened, and his game has nothing to do with it. It's just what people do, and it's the thing. I used to talk to JJ Redick about this all the time. I'm like,
not
it's the white
hateable.
dude thing, man. It's a real thing. I don't care what anybody says.
Sure.
Right? So it's like he's Christian Laettner like. I'm like, stop.
He's not.
Christian
He's not
Laettner.
hateable. He's not hateable.
But it's like he's more likable than anybody. But still, like, it falls into like, for some people, it falls into like that bucket a little bit. We're like, oh, okay. But when you actually watch him play in real time, you're like, oh, he's actually a dog. He don't say
Right.
like he don't fit in that stereotype at all.
Nope.
But like it's one of the stereotypes along with those other 2 points.
Well, he
that you
doesn't
made.
talk shit like Laettner did or even Reddick. He doesn't he's harder to hate than your normal Duke White dude who's really good.
Because he's very
No?
likable, Jeff.
Am I wrong?
No, I
He
agree
doesn't
with you.
say anything.
No.
We don't. The
I
other
like him.
part, we don't see him out there. We don't see him out there. He does no interviews, nothing. You should have heard
one
him
with
today.
his mammy. He did one with his mammy.
Dude, you should have heard him today. That
couldn't
dude
be.
says nothing.
He was like this the whole time.
Says nothing.
Like a pro.
It's amazing.
I mean, Henson just said he liked him, and he's a Carolina guy.
I like.
We always like each
I'm
other.
a basketball guy.
No,
You
Come on, you
wait,
didn't like
liked
Henson,
every-
bro.
You
Did-
know how
you
many
liked
times I
you liked
kicked
the
it with
guys you
Joe
played.
Forte and Julius
I was going to
Peppers.
say we used to be
Please
the same.
stop.
The thing about it is we always we intersected. Like Kyrie used to sleep on my couch,
Yo, it's
like at the
Really?
dorm.
these
Yeah.
stories crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't know that.
When he would come, this is back before like.
Did you see
Ubers
what
and
we
things.
never mind.
Yeah, like this is
What
back
do you
before.
never mind.
Well, you
can't
see,
go
Well,
we weren't working with a lot.
Dexter Strickland was his high school roommate. So
We're college kids, man. You mean act like that's not a real thing?
Kyrie wasn't
Raleigh's too
getting
far.
anything?
Raleigh's too far.
Wait, Kyrie.
Raleigh's way too far.
Raleigh's
Get in
getting
trouble
too
with
far.
Raleigh.
Raleigh's too
It's
far,
30-minute
so-
drive. Nobody's trying to do
Raleigh's
that.
too
What do
far.
Duke and Carolina guys think of NC?
JJ thought UNC was too far.
What do Carolina and Duke guys think of NC State?
When I was there, they had a talented roster. Keyword talented. So they got a little mouthy, and so me, Harrison Barnes, we set up a pickup game. We say, "Oh, y'all, let's just play pickup. We'll come to NC State." Shredded them.
Who was it? Who was it that year?
Like C.J. Leslie, Ryan Harrell, Painter, those guys.
Ryan Harrell.
Yeah, what a name, Ryan Harrell.
Yeah, we destroyed them.
He transferred from
We
Kentucky.
walked
right?
in. We walked in their trap and took over their trap, and we left. And
So stupid.
if we saw a girl that was dating an NC State player,
Here comes another hooper, Jarrell McNeil.
we would.
Why don't you tell him
we would
that?
go-
Come on in here, Jarrell.
Come on, James.
He's going to respect that.
Door.
Now, as you walked up the steps, I said, "Here comes another hooper, Jarrell
Real
McNeil."
hooper.
So Jay, you good? Good to see you, baby.
All right,
And he said, "You're a hooper."
Take a break.
baller.
Hooper.
All right.
Hooper.
All right, Fanta. We're gonna
break.
break.
We got to listen to Rob's commercials.
No,
more.
no one
No
back.
one is more
After
upset right
break.
now.
I need to get a beer.
A little bit of
Hey,
Jay
good
Will. Doug Gottlieb joining the show next, so
My
make sure you
arch
stick around.
nemesis.
Owning property in the state of Texas is difficult enough. Paying taxes on your property should not make your life any more complicated. Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying property taxes, you should only pay what's fair. In under 3 minutes, you can sign up and have their team of Texas experts start saving you money without a single upfront cost. It's easy. When you sign up, you get an instant estimate of the tax savings they can get you so that when that property tax bill comes due, the amount that you have to fork over to Uncle Sam isn't quite as painful. Put property tax money back in your pocket in just minutes. 86% of customers receive a reduction with an average savings of more than $1,100. Imagine how much less stress you'll have in your life knowing that you could take some of the money that you have earmarked for the IRS and spend it on, an 85-inch flat screen to watch March Madness. The deadline to protest is May 15th for most Texas counties. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/CBB. That's OWNWELL.com/CBB.
People have opinions about me, strong ones. Some compare my brand to the competition and call me a copycat. Some say that I'm just watered down, that I fall flat. I've heard it all. But the people who get me, they say I'm different, subtle, but balanced. Nothing to hide, nothing artificial. And once they give me a chance, they keep coming back for more. For more dad water. That's right, I'm talking about dad water, and I swear by it. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail made with real tequila. 100 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Find Dad Water's 4 flavors in an 8-pack variety pack or single flavor 6-packs. Dad Water invites you to enjoy its great lineup of products all tournament long. Take it from me, Jeff Goodman. Sometimes the most polarizing things are the best things. Dab water, tequila, water, natural flavors.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today.
Look what the wind blew in. Doug Gottlieb, the head coach of the Green Bay Phoenix, Fox Sports Radio host. Jay Williams is still with us. Jeff Goodman's here. You guys have been on television here or there before, once upon a time?
Yeah, every Saturday together for, I don't know, about 3 years at ESPN.
Before he got into coaching, we actually thought about running it back for a second because I do feel like we disagree on a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, that makes this segment perfect.
I love, like, first off, Doug definitely kicked my ass for the first couple of years because I didn't know shit. Like, I'm coming in on ACC. Doug's actually, no, that's not the way it is, Jay. I'm like, oh, shit, that just happened on national TV.
So, like, honestly, like a year into coaching, you start to realize how much shit you actually don't know.
Right. No, but it is. It's hard when you come in from playing and you do media, especially college hoops. If you can do NBA, it's easy. But if you go college hoops, you don't know.
Well, like, okay, I'll give you somebody who really struggled. Richard Jefferson, right? Richard Jefferson's a super bright guy. He's obviously really good at covering the NBA. Yeah. But you remember when ESPN hired him, they put him right. Like, I think his first game was like a Louisville game with Sean McDonough. And you're like, if you played a couple years of professional basketball, like, everything has changed.
Shane Battier.
You know?
Shane Battier.
It was Shane. I think it was Shane. It was Shane. It wasn't Richard Jefferson.
But they didn't help Shane out either. Like, you got to help.
Nobody really helps out in this
But that's what they do is they're
go.
But they're so excited that they have Jay, to you, I think, when you first got there, they're so excited with their new bright, shiny toy. Here we have the National Player of the Year. Yeah. And like, hey, dude, I've been hooping the NBA. I've been rehabbing. Like, the last thing I'm paying attention to. And like, he did a Missouri game early in his career. And you're like, dude, like, that's not his wheelhouse just because Quinn's part of the family. You know? Man. Like, that is really, really, really hard.
So let's talk about the state of this wild sport, okay? Because that's what it is. It is wild. You're obviously through your first season at Green Bay, and I know that every program, every conference is going to have something different to say about this. But we've got over 1,500 names, 1,600 names in the transfer portal. We've got, I just hear a guard today. We're talking about it. A guard that's good, fine.
Yeah, I mean,
$2.5 million.
Silas Emery, over $2 million.
Over $2 million. What is going on in this sport?
Well, it's a good open-ended question. Okay, I would say the current market right now is, guys, their values are relatively inflated, right? Because, did you ever play in Greece?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know this. You play in Greece. Okay, guys make half of what they say they make, and they bring home half of what they're actually supposed to bring home, right? That's college basketball. It really is. Is that?
So you think these numbers are BS?
Yes.
A lot of them.
Yes.
And who's putting them out that it's BS? Is it the agents? Is it actually
everybody,
the coaches that want the number to look bigger in a way at these programs? Because
I don't know. I don't know that. I can only tell you, like, from, again, my perspective. Okay, and this is like full cycle one, but, like, we caught in on the tail end of stuff, right? Guys were cheap last year because it was like going Christmas shopping on Christmas
so
Eve,
late.
right?
Exactly.
Well, plus, again, and then at my level, you don't have a ton of money, so you're sitting there going like, okay, do I take a guy with a felony or I take a child? That's really the thing. And so honestly, the discussion is, this is the real discussion.
That was
what's
a real
the felony?
question.
It's a real question.
Wait, hold
It was a real question.
What's the felony? Right?
I need to get you
I
this.
don't
drink
think
right
Mike
over here.
Krzyzewski ever asked that
No,
one.
it's different levels.
What's the felony? Like, what's the issue?
Oh, boy, great
Hey,
it.
by the way, that's a legitimate follow-up
It's
question.
it's okay. Wait,
Right,
is
if I'm
it
trying
is
to
it
win, it's a
is it
legitimate follow-up
is it
question.
nonviolent? Is it like marijuana, which now wouldn't be anything depending upon the state?
Yeah.
Or is it he put his hands on a woman and it's like it's a hard
Can't do
stop,
it.
right? So again, that's what it's like. Late portal is a scary place. Okay, so now everybody thinks, okay, April. What is it? Was it April 7th?
Yeah,
That
Monday. Monday.
goes to revshare.
Yes. This
What
Monday.
what does it mean? Okay, I can only tell you what it means for us is that now we're going to be writing checks from our athletic department. Where the guys are signing MOUs, memo of understanding, and then will we have a collective? Yeah, but the collective is going to be more used for maybe some bonuses. If guys achieve things. That's
You can have that in the MOUs. You can have like
whatever
incentives.
you want. Like there's
incentive
again,
structures like based upon numbers you hit.
Well, we haven't ever done it based upon numbers. We give bonuses based upon academics.
Okay.
So we give bonuses based on academics. Now, other people everybody has the right to give out Alston money, which is additional money. We don't.
I love knitting classes.
Huh?
I love knitting classes. Academics.
So-
I mean, it's.
No,
I
but-
need
but
your
You can't
class
respond to
schedule.
that, but I can.
I
No,
need
no,
his
no.
class
Listen,
schedule
again,
at Duke.
Hey,
Hey, don't you? Come on.
I
Frank.
need it.
God damn it.
I need the schedule.
No.
I
We
just-
don't talk about that here.
Oh,
live,
okay. All right.
No, but the reality. So I walked into a program that is on APR probation. Okay, you want to start with how to like fix some of the reasons that people dislike the NCAA. It's the APR hasn't changed since 2004. The sport is completely different since 2004. Right. So if mid-season I couldn't just run off a player because we need the 2 points. Right? We need the point that they were academically eligible, and we need the point of retention at another 4-year institution.
Wait,
How
time
is there
out.
even
Take-
APR? Like, this is the dumbest thing
Agree,
ever.
it's dumb. Wait, take a second though. Give me a definition of run off a player and what that means in basketball terms for people that don't know what that means.
I say you have a player who just doesn't want to do all the basic things you want to do. Doesn't want to go to class, doesn't want to be in the group chat, doesn't want to show up on time, doesn't want to listen, wants to do his own thing, right? Where you and I, we do that with Coach K,
Yeah.
Coach Sutton. They're like, goodbye,
Yeah.
right? Goodbye. Pack your shit and get the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
right? Can't do that. Can't do that in my particular situation. You cannot. Okay, you got to massage it, and you got to go. All right, well, listen, we got to work through it, and you
You
work
have to
through
give
it.
them you have to write it out.
Give them
Right.
opportunities.
You have to
and
give
then
them
show
like
the
3
opportunities,
strikes
right?
here.
No, okay, they have
Don't
to
give
be,
away all the secrets, Doug. Don't
no,
go too
I mean,
deep.
I can't sell it. I'm not going to ever sell
yeah,
out my players.
yeah,
Okay, that's wrong. I can only tell you that there are certain guys which, if they weren't holding up their end of the bargain, I can't just go home, goodbye.
Right.
Which is what every other coach has done forever.
Yeah, no,
So
okay?
would you?
Not now, you can't.
Would you?
No. Others can if you're on APR probation. So we can only practice 5 days a week instead of 6. We can only do 16 hours. Every kid in our program, regardless of your GPA, has to do 4 hours of monitored study hall. Okay, if not, they can't play. Okay, that's all APR probation. Okay, if our choices were either take the APR probation or take yourself out of postseason play, and we chose that. Okay, it's a 5-year cycle, but it's insane when everyone else they're cycling through their team every year, and we're not the only one. Okay, but it's what I walked into, so it's a little bit different. Okay, first thing that needs to change is the APR rules. Okay, that
From 2004.
from 2004. Okay, from 2004. Here's another one. Okay, I have 5 kids at last week. I can't leave a cheese head on their bed.